We're going live, fellas. And we are live. All right, let me record. All right. And fellas, I'm going to use my sound effects. Let me know if you can hear it. All right, we are good to go. So let's get this started, fellas. We are live, y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the session. We are live. Welcome to another session of the Double Cloud Podcast, the #1 Polynesian podcast in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show for you guys today. As you guys can see, we have a great panel of men joining us tonight, and we have a great topic for you guys tonight. Thank you so much. If you're tuning in for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Much love to you. And of course, for all my subscribers out there, all my followers out there, thank you so much for following and subscribing. Thank you for all your support. And if you love the content, support the channel, love what we do, and love these discussions I do weekly every single Wednesday, you guys already know what to do. Smash and press that like and subscribe button real quick. Don't forget, these conversations that we have on this podcast is for mature audiences only, 18 plus. So I do have a disclaimer real quick.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
Please be advised. So be under the age of 18. Make sure you have supervised parental guidance. If not, alo mohe, go to sleep. Go to sleep. All right. Don't forget, we have that live chat. You guys already know what to do in the live chat. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your perspective. Drop your opinions. We have a great topic tonight, and we have a great discussion tonight, especially what we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I always appreciate the live chat every single week. Let me know your feedback. Yeah, drop that live chat. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget, this is a public show. I will post a public Zoom link on the live chat if you guys want to be part of this conversation. My podcast, I'm an advocate of open discussions, whether we agree or disagree. I know I have a lot of haters and people that disagree with me.
Emotional damage.
All right, so I know you guys have a lot of emotional damage out there. If you're triggered, hey, let's have a conversation. Come on here. But as long as you keep it respectable, but come on if you're part of this conversation. All right, we'd love to hear your perspective. Don't forget, we do have the super chat donation. Everybody out there always super chat donated to my channel financially. Thank you so much for all the supporters out there, man. Thank you so much. Like I say, I know. I see Malcolm. Malcolm, you want to be on? I see you on the waiting list. Just be patient. I'll add you on later after the introductions. But yeah, don't forget the super chat donation. Much love to you guys for always donating to my channel. My goal is to elevate my podcast and eventually get my studio. That's my goal for the end of 2022, is have a podcast studio and eventually be able to have this podcast live with real people. So everything I'm doing now financially, I'm donating it to that dream. So whether you agree or disagree, whether you like my content, but one thing I'll just say, if you respect the hustle, if you respect the grind, respect the ambition, doing something for myself with the Polynesian community, creating a space, we have a voice. If you respect that, support me financially and drop it through a super chat donation. Much love to you. And the best way to drop a super chat donation, ask it through a question, ask it through a topic, specific question topic, or if you have a question specifically to one of these guests, ask it through a super chat donation. I will answer it and read it live on the show, and we'll respond and reciprocate it back to you. So that way to thank you for your super chat donation. Much love to you. But nevertheless, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Thank you for all of the viewers always tuning in every single week. I'm gonna go ahead. We have a great panel of guests. I want to say thank you so much real quick. Shout out to the guests. For taking the time out of your busy days. I know you're busy men. You guys got things to do and dreams and things to accomplish. But thank you so much for always taking the busy time out of your busy day to be part of this podcast and have a discussion. So I'm gonna allow the men real quick to go ahead and give a quick intro, and then we'll go ahead and start the show. So go ahead to our newest guest real quick. Shout out to him. First time to be part of the panel. He was part of this a couple weeks ago, but this is the first official time to be part of the panel. Thank you so much for Daniel Pida. Daniel, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick for all the viewers out there.
Thank you so much, Will. Hey, everyone. Like Will said, my name is Daniel Pida. I'm 23. I'm very happy to be here. I'm glad that I get to share my perspective as an African American or as a Ghanaian on how to date, especially for men and women who want to win. And I'm glad to be here, man. This is dope.
All right, no worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Daniel Pida, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, man, for jumping on, man. I'm excited to have you on, brother.
Me too.
No worries. But we'll pass on to our next guest. Savage, go ahead, man. Introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Savage. If you hate me, fuck you, and let's do this, bro. I'm ready.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Savage. All right, thank you, Doko. Always taking the time, and always appreciate you having you on here. Pass it on to the next person, Siaosi, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Siaosi.
How's it going, everybody? Let's do it one more time. My name is Siaosi Langi, born and raised in Tonga. I've only been here in America about 5 years now. No, going on 6 years. It's been a great time learning. I am no professional by chance, but I just love these kind of talks because I think it helps us as men grow and also helps the future generation of our community and our country become better. And it's a good educational podcast. So for those of you out there, tune into this podcast because it's a very, very inspiring, empowered, and impactful opportunity to learn more of like who we can become and how we can become better.
All right, no worries, Siaosi. Always taking. Thank you so much, man. Having on the panel, Siaosi. Malo pito it. And yep. And last but real quick, I do have a super chat donation. All right. Oh, thank you so much, man. Shout out to Infinite Lives. $4.99 super chat donation, start of the show. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for this early super chat donation, start of my show. Much love for your support to get my podcast studio. Much love to you. Thank you so much, Infinite Lives. And I always see you in the live chat, Infinite Lives. So I always see your feedback. Thanks. You're one of those loyal subscribers and people that view the show. Thank you so much for always tuning in. Much love to you, Infinite Lives. But I'm gonna pass it on real quick. Taniela, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, malo lere, si to offer to everyone who's watching and to everyone on the panel. My name is Taniela. Just like Siaosi, I was born and raised in Tonga. And in 2008, I moved over to New Zealand and currently reside here. Like Siaosi, I'm no professional, but in some way or form, I've managed to navigate the space of construction here in New Zealand. And this topic to me is very, very close to home in the sense that as a project manager and someone who's been in management for the last 7 years, I get to deal with men of all ages who have similar issues. And majority of those issues come from not being able to confront problems or confronting each other with problems, but redirecting it in a very emotional way. So yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I can't wait to see what we get out of this, because my hope is that we get to walk away from this podcast at least leaving some sort of value for each other and for anyone else who's willing to watch and to learn. So yeah, once again, thank you guys, and can't wait to get into it.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Taniela. Thank you so much for jumping on. Much always the love. I appreciate your support, Toko. But nevertheless, thank you so much, everybody out there. If you love the content, don't forget, press that like and subscribe button real quick. And of course, I'm gonna after this, I'll post the public Zoom link, and you can jump on if you want to be part of the conversation. But let's get right into it. The topic for tonight is how should men handle conflict with other men? So a lot of you guys probably watching this already. You guys probably aware of why we're having this podcast already. But for everybody out there just watching it for the very first time, I just want to explain the context of why we're having this show, so that way you understand why we're having this conversation. And then we'll go and I'll let the fellas, Savage and Daniel, get right into it. So just a quick rundown, real quick summary for everybody out there, so you understand Daniel and Savage. Last weekend we had I always have a podcast every single Wednesday. So last Wednesday we had a podcast, and the topic was, do modern women know how to vet good quality men? And of course, everybody on the panel, everybody has the opportunity to share their opinion. Of course, Savage was able to share his opinion on what he thought about that topic. And Daniel Pida is one of my subscribers, people that support my show. He disagreed with what Savage said. He disagreed on his opinion, and he dropped a super chat donation explaining his opinion and why he disagreed with what Savage said. And then, of course, Savage responded in a emotional way, and that's what led to this the conversation we have at hand. So I'm just gonna play a quick video for a quick recap from last week's podcast, so you can see what happened. So that way you understand why we're having this conversation, and then I'll allow the fellas to go right into it. So I'll play the video real quick, and then we'll go right into it, fellas, for everybody out there watching this right now. And I'm gonna share my video real quick, fellas. Let me know if you guys can see it. Open. All right, fellas, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So so this was a clip from the podcast from last weekend, so you guys understand why we're having this topic. This was the message that Daniel Pida sent out on the live chat, and what he disagreed with what Savage said. I'm gonna play it real quick. Savage is giving terrible advice. Please listen to Will and get your life together. Put in the same effort you put into your jobs, into men.
You want to
And then, of course, after I read out that super chat donation, this was the response. Savage's response.
advice? Quit with that little dick energy. It's not my fault with your little ugly ass, I don't know, uncircumcised, fucked up of a personality. You want to come up and talk all this good shit? Straight up, dog. If you don't know who I am, there's a reason why my name is Savage Island, and I.
All right, perfect. All right, we're back into it. All right, cool. So I just wanted to play that real quick so people could get some context, understand why we're having this podcast tonight. And of course, the topic at hand is how should men handle conflict with other men. Of course, on that video, people that watch my channel, I always have conversations. I do a lot of podcasts with Taniela, but also I do a lot of podcasts talking about Siaosi as well, Savage as well, and we talk about men. The male journey, the male struggle, learning how to be a real man. And if you haven't seen it, go definitely check out my page. I have a lot of content, and we talk about specific about men. And if you're Tongan, watch this right now. I do have podcasts with Taniela and Siaosi. We speak in Tongan if you're a Tongan speaker out there. I'm an advocate with learning, helping men how to become strong men. My opinion when it comes to handling conflict with other men, I believe that we should always be in control. We should be disciplining our emotions and always focus on the solution. We should not be seeking conflict with other men. I think we should always be able to handle it in a very logical way, because there are consequences and there's repercussions to our actions and decisions if we respond uncontrollably, especially with emotions. And like Siaosi always says, usually when we respond to emotions, we typically don't make usually our best decisions in life. But I had my conversation with Savage, and we had a private conversation. And thank you so much, Savage, to be able to come on here and have this in public. And so that's pretty much a quick explanation, quick summary for everybody out there to understand why we have this conversation. Shout out to Daniel as well for reaching out. I know you reached out as well. It's because you wanted to have a one-on-one conversation to Savage as well. And also, I want to highlight that Savage did, at the end of the show, he did say that he apologized. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. I remember at the end of the show, he put on a live chat, and he reached out to Daniel Pida, and he apologized to Daniel Pida. So I think this is a very important discussion for young men out here, especially in today's generation, especially Western men. I think that I do see a generation of young men not learning how to controlling their emotions. And I think this is a very important topic to discuss, especially for young men out there in a generation where I see a lot of guys making bad decisions that forever change into their life because they didn't handle it with logic, but they handled it in a very uncontrollable manner. And the reason why this topic is really important to me, because one thing I do know about men, because all the men can agree with me with this, every single man wants to be respected. That's one thing I do know. Men value respect, especially dealing with life, society, especially dealing with other men. I think that's why I'm very, very excited to have this conversation with these two guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. So that's for all you guys watching this for the very first time, tuning in, so you guys understand why we're having this discussion. And usually I'm the moderator for this show. But real quick, so Savage and Daniel, just say it one more time. Thank you so much for being open to having this discussion. man-to-man, face-to-face on this live podcast, and also allow me and Taniela and Siaosi to be part of this as well to add on to the discussion. But fellas, usually I'm the moderator for this show, but for this conversation, I'm gonna let you guys moderate yourselves. So once I give you guys the floor, I'm gonna allow you guys to moderate yourselves. I want you guys to be yourselves, and this is your discussion. You guys had a conflict last week, and you guys here have the opportunity to confront yourselves. So shout out to you guys for taking the courage to confront your conflict and head to head in these type of discussions. Because I see a lot of most people will run away. I see a lot of people when they have conflict, when they have issues, they have a lot of challenges. Most people would run away, and I think it's important in life that we don't run away from our challenges because that's where our lessons, growth, and that's what we learn as people. So just shout out to you guys. So you guys will have the opportunity to moderate yourselves, and you guys go at it, and then we'll whenever you guys done, and then me and Siaosi and Taniela will jump back, and then everybody on the live chat, you guys can be part of the conversation. Let me know what your thoughts real quick. And and before I hand over the floor to you guys real quick, since this is gonna be a battle, I want to play a theme song real quick just to set the mood real quick. Since it is a battle, people that know me. I'm a big anime fan. I'm a big kung fu fan. I'm a big UFC fan. So I wanted to set the mood real quick. Let me play a little theme song. It is entertaining. I want to keep this show entertaining before we go right into the, go right into it, go hard with you guys. So I'm gonna play a theme song real quick. For all the 90s babies, you probably know what this sound is, but this is a quick battle theme song before we go right into the Let Savage and Dana Pida go at it real quick. So I'll play the theme song real quick. If you guys know what the sound is, drop in the live chat, but you will know if you watch this movie. Get ready, y'all. Get ready, y'all. Before we start the battle.
Oh, man.
All right, I just wanted to play that theme song real quick.
Man.
I'm a big Jet Li fan. That's back on my kung fu days, man. I just want to play the. Yeah, if all the 90s, baby. If you're a big Jet Li kung fu fan, you know what that sound effect. But just want to play that theme song real quick. Set the move real quick. But yeah, fellas, I'm gonna open the floor for you guys. You guys will moderate yourselves. You guys do your thing, and you guys will have your conversation. You guys can settle from what happened last night, fellas. The floor is yours. We're not gonna jump in. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Cool. Savage, if you want to go first, you can go, man. The floor is yours.
No, I want you to speak first. Everything I'm going to speak is pretty much clear and cut, so you can go ahead and speak.
Cool. So I'm gonna start off with one of my favorite books is the 48 Laws of Power. And one of the laws that I love the most is law number 8. And it states that make others come to you, use bait if necessary. And it says that this is just a short summary of it. It's always preferable to make your opponent come to you as they have abandoned their plans and strategies in the process. Lure them in and then attack. This prevents you from ever reacting to your opponents. Instead, they have to react to you. This means playing the long game, sitting back and staying calm as others get stuck in the traps you've carefully planned out for them. So that's just a short summary of it. And I love this law because I remember when I first got into the show, I actually got in like towards the beginning, but in the middle, kind of, where you were given advice to the ladies on the show. And I've heard this advice before because this is basically the same advice I was given at a certain point in my life as a man. And the main reason why I didn't agree with your advice and I was challenging it was because I've heard that advice before. And when it comes to modern women, I mean, you may be a fan of them, but guys like me who date them aren't a fan of them. We don't. I'm saying I don't hate them. I actually like them, but I'm not a fan of their mindset when it comes to men. And that's mainly why I disagree with you. There were some points that I do agree with you on when it comes to modern women, but I wasn't talking out of emotions or anything. I was just talking out of like the trigger that I get when men are telling women to be like us, whereas women need to accept the fact that they can never be like us, and their choices and their actions are not working for their ultimate outcome. So I just wanted to make that like point blank and clear, straight to you, because that was my disagreement, and I understand how you felt, but we are talking to women who have been led astray for so long. And now that the media is out and they're free to express who they are, and they've been doing that for years, letting us know how they feel about us, now that they want to know how we feel about them, I want them to know the ultimate truth. I don't care about their feelings when it comes to this subject, because we as men have catered to their feelings for so long that it's also messing us up in the process. So, by you, coming for me, just based on me challenging your argument, I felt like, well, I didn't even feel, I just saw that it was unnecessary for you to come after me when you don't have any facts about me, But I actually think with that disagreement, we made the show great. A lot of people talked about it. I even invited some friends over to see the show, and they had a blast with what you had to say about me. So it was great. So I just wanted to know like your point of view about this stuff, and we can talk it out as men. I understand like not a lot of people are gonna agree with what I had to say, and I was going off on the chat about that too, with some people, but we were able to come with an agreement, and that's mainly what I want to do with this conversation.
Was that it?
Yeah. This is my intro to the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely. Like off the get, man. It took me some time during the episode to calm myself down. Cause yeah, I openly admit it. I got triggered emotionally because your opinion attacked me personally. Getting my life together and the fact that you think I'm obligated to lead men. That's not an obligation for me. I'm here to teach young men, boys.
Mhm.
And if you felt that you were in that class or that category, well, welcome to the lesson. You mentioned you were 23 years old, and you mentioned that
Yeah,
you read the 48 Laws of Power. I actually met Robert Greene in the University of California back in 2014. Very
that's
good
the
man.
shit.
And I met him and his wife. And the funny thing about it was that when he wrote the book, his the little dialogue that we had, Robert had mentioned that he didn't think it would reach the crowd that he was trying to reach. It was geared towards men. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So the fact that you read that book at an age like this, good on you. Good on you. But the thing about a book is, Robert Greene wrote that book. I never read the book. I went and saw him at the signing simply because I went with friends. I wrote my own book, and within that book is just me and my experiences, going through my research and studies and learning what works and what doesn't work. When you
Mhm.
had given your opinion about what I had said, you were a subscriber of Will-Nacouzi. You've never actually seen me continuously or consistently on Will's previous episodes.
Yeah.
You know, I did a little bit of research on you as far as the first episode you featured on, and I wouldn't say your disposition, but your point of view on what the modern woman is, you know, it's very one dimensional. I don't know if it's because of the area you're in or if you've ever been out of that circle, but it's absolutely, you know, it could be misleading to someone when you speak those words, you know, on a platform like this. Now, granted, yeah, I came at you very childish like, very immature. I'm 33 years old. I didn't have to respond like that. But the point in why I responded like that was that you don't know me. For you to come at me and tell me that, you know, hey, you should get your life together. You don't know my life. You don't know what kind of leadership role I'm in. I coach athletes at your age right now who are trying to make it to the league, and you know that's not something I'm bragging about. But majority of the time is the stuff that they deal with off the field. I never bring that on. So on a platform like william-nacouzi's, where he's trying to discover who the modern woman is and how to help young men to navigate, the thing I would want to worry most about is that the kind of world I want to build for my kids. So whenever I speak from my experiences for my children, because I'm out the game. I've even told Will many times before, there's no point in having me on this podcast and on this platform because I'm speaking after the fact. I don't go through this anymore. I even said many times that I feel sorry for the young men who deal with this. But when I'm speaking from a point of view of like to the young women or the women that, you know, I'm giving advice to or maybe my opinion to, I'm actually speaking to my daughter. That's who I'm speaking to, because obviously she's not old enough yet now. But when she does look back at this video library, because that's basically what this is, she will hear her father say, "Hey, man, you know, life is about ups and downs. We'll make mistakes, but it's how you pick yourself up." I never directly try to speak to any of these women because I understand one thing I can say can be held against me. So whether you agreed with me or whether you didn't, you know, that's fine and dandy. But I think what happened was your inexperience spoke first. You know, mentioning that you were 23, like I had to catch myself twice because I was like, man, this guy sounds really young. So absolutely very young. Because if you think you're peaking now, wait till you turn 28 and you're like, shit, man, I'm still dealing with the same girls. But you know, as far as everything else goes, you know, one thing, if I could give any advice to you directly, if this means anything, is that, you know, if you felt the need to give that opinion, to speak on the advice I was giving, I would say, you know, make it more constructive to a point where it's on the subject. If the subject was how the modern woman can vet good quality men, then let's keep it on that. But if it's not, and it's about me getting my shit together, and of course, putting more effort into men, how I put into my jobs, you know, that's gonna vet the response that I gave you. But I don't normalize that because that's still an immature response. So within saying that, man, I hope we can reach a solution.
For sure. I want to clarify something. When I wrote that comment, it was actually not directed to you per se. It was actually directed towards the women, because I deal with women like this all the time, and I know I'm young. I know most of my advice won't sound good to people. I actually don't plan on making people feel good. That's not my plan. My plan, whenever I give advice, is to put my foot into everyone's shoes. My advice was directly to women. When I said that, um, women, the modern women now are so confused by us to the point that they have to now come to the middle space to try and understand us, you know. And when I wrote that advice, it was not just directly towards you, it was also directly towards the women, because when it comes to the modern women, like I said in that comment, they put too much effort towards their jobs instead of putting their money and their energy and everything towards what they ultimately want, which is having a family. Like that's their end goal, regardless of whatever age they're at. So I didn't mean that just towards you, because the advice that you gave them was, from what I remembered, was you were advocating for the hoe phase. And for me, I've seen what the hoe phase has done for women, both good and bad. And, you know, I just didn't think that what your advice for the whole face, you advocating for the whole face, even if you're giving this message to your daughter, is a sound advice. Based off of not even just my personal experience, based off of even just the data and the science towards it, you know. So that's basically what I wanted to say about that, because I knew you were gonna get triggered because you thought it was just directly towards you, but it wasn't just towards you, you know. I wanted women who come to this space to listen to why men think the way they think. And when it comes to the whole phase, with the variety of men that come into women's DMs all over social media, Tinder, it doesn't even matter if the girl is a 5 or a 10. Like, it is insane. So for you to advocate for the whole phase, it's like women, especially modern women, they aren't as disciplined as men when it comes to subjects like this, because they have it all. The world is their oyster at a certain age, but there's going to be a time when that stops, and then they're going to wonder where life went, you know. And I'm not here to basically save them, because at the end of the day, these are they're adults. These are their choices. But my thing is, as a guy who dates them, I don't want to consistently hear their problems all over social media and in person, you know. So that's mainly why I said the comment, you know, because they're still coming to male spaces for help, regardless of whether we like it or not. And at the end of the day, I want these women to be accountable for their actions and not to blame men, because it looks like everything is a man's fault. This is all I hear since day one, ever since I was a little kid. From the time that I was never introduced to the internet to the time that I am introduced to the internet. So I wanted that to be point blank and clear, that their actions do come with consequences, and that men are the ones who dictate their success when it comes to dating and life. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
So yeah, definitely, I hear you. I think you know, me and you are gonna have different views on who the modern woman is. The modern woman, to me, the way you're making her sounds very immature. Doesn't sound of age, and if anything, doesn't even sound developed experience wise. So it sounds like to me you're dating little girls, not like in the sense of underage, but little girls who are undecided in what they want to do, and that's okay, because that's a developmental thing. There's no problem in not knowing what you want to do in life. That's why you have your 30s. Your 30s, life. Honestly, I'm telling you right now, your life begins to start for you at your 30s. But going back to how you addressed me, so that was even problematic as you could see, because a man about his business will direct who he speaks to. So although you made your comment or your opinion very vague, because you like you clearly say my name in the address. You know, Savage needs to get his life together and stuff. But if you're stating that, but I also meant it to the women, like a man, you should address to who you're speaking to, whether it's me and the women, me speaking to the women, or the women and Savage. That's first and foremost when addressing, certain situations. But you'll come to learn that. Now, this whole thing about the hoe phase, right? So this whole dynamic of the patriarchal society. If you're a pimp and you have a stable of 3 hoes in your stable, the point is you're benefiting the most. Although these women are making their money, you take a percentage, right? So the patriarchal point of view on that is that, hey, you guys go do your thing, but when you bring the money back, split me my percentage, and you go on about your business. You made the statement that women aren't privy to the consequences like how we men are because of our discipline. If that was the case, why do we need a stable of hoes if we can make the money on our own? You get what I'm saying? That the role of the pimp is so adamant these days is because the pimp can manipulate. That's really what that is. That's manipulation. First of all, a sex worker is a sex worker. That's I don't know how you follow that on taxes, but that's called overall manipulation. If you can manipulate a stable of women, that's not power. That's not discipline. That's overall influence. Hey, I can get you to get that house that you're looking for. I can get you that new car you need. I can definitely, get you the man you're looking for. You just got to put in work for me. Because if it was the other way around, women having a stable of men, whoa, well, this would be a different conversation. So that goes with the lack of experience in what I'm talking about when you're trying to give your opinion. So, like, one thing about being here on Will's platform, I've spoken with many different point of views, but to my advantage, I only speak in the Pacific Islander community. I'm not in other spaces. I'm not in the white community, the black community, the Indian, the Mexican community. So I don't ever try to generalize or make it a whole spectrum because it does not apply. If anything, the community I come from is less than 1% on the statistics. So nothing we do amounts to shit because we don't apply to the statistics and the numbers. It doesn't mean anything to us. We're not who they're talking about. But when you're speaking about the modern woman, that's a little bit broader diaspora because the modern woman is in a bigger display, maybe in the black community. So if that's the case, and when you're speaking on the modern woman, hey brother, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say about the modern woman in that aspect. But the modern woman I know is indigenous. She is Asian. She's black. I mean, and this is just years of experience. And I'm not just talking about how many women I've had sex with. No. I'm talking about the amount of women I've had conversations with, the experiences that I've got to go through because I was fortunate enough to come out on the other side of it, gaining something rather than, hey, yeah, I did it and that was it. The modern woman I see today knows her value. That's why she's not a hoe. And when I was advocating for that hoe phase, it was more or less speaking from, once again, women using experience to vet good quality men, because I said it on that episode last week, which was the one and done versus this is the one. Many women who get out of high school or college believe that there's this fantasy role of, I'm going to find the one. All right. So that's what women I would know growing up with is they find the one. And when it doesn't end up being the one, which is majority of the case, and that's how we lead into divorce rates, that's the case because there's this whole buildup on the one we're looking for. When in actuality, go through the experience of dating that man. Okay, that's not for me. Dating this man, that's not for me. Fuck, there's no good quality men that I can find until the one guy does come. This is the one. So whether you're going to be this is the one or you're the one, that's totally up to the woman or you and how you really put the effort into that. But I would think if you're really that adamant about looking for a modern woman, because it doesn't seem too successful, I would say stop looking. Let them look for you. Because overall, you don't seem like a bad guy. You seem very knowledgeable. You seem very in tune with who you are. You have enough experience to know what's right from wrong. Your morality sounds on par. So if the issue is that I'm tired of these women and this and that, and they're thinking this, then maybe you need to turn the perspective on something more productive or extracurricular in your own personal life. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I told Will too many times, I would not survive today. If I was off the market right now, if I had to start all over again tomorrow, I'd be fucked. Okay. But I'm not discrediting you or saying that you're wrong. All I'm saying is there's alternative perspectives or solutions to go about this rather than, hey, women need to be more disciplined in this, because the more and more you publicize your opinion like that, you begin to put yourself in the box about what women don't want. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If that's what you're into, hey, that's what you're into. Can't nobody tell you different. But overall, I was coming from the experience for women when that whole phase dropped, was like, it wasn't so much, hey, go have sex with everybody. It was, hey, go have experience with many people so you know what's right and what's wrong. But that was vague when I said the whole phase. I didn't mean to go have sex with everybody.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so my question about that, because I get where you're coming from. I can agree to some of the things you're saying. And I understand. I'm a young dude. I got a long way to go. So my question about that is because there are certain things that I wish I could have asked on the show, but I was too tired to even show up to the show anyways. But I was just listening to it the whole time whilst I was trying to take a nap. So how many experiences do you think a woman should go through in order for her to let's just say, I don't know, find the one, or once the right guy comes along, is she comfortable enough to say the number of bodies she's been through?
Question.
Because this is how I'm seeing this. This is how I'm seeing this, right? So by you like saying, hey, go have these experiences. With men, when it comes to experiences, we get better because we are held accountable. It doesn't matter where we're at. It doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter, the experiences we go through. We're still held accountable. When it comes to women, they're not held accountable. So that's why they don't develop discipline. That's why they don't develop obedience, because with discipline comes obedience, right? Like a man can't go through all these experiences without any form of discipline or obedience. You get what I'm saying? And he's still held accountable. So how many bodies do you think a woman should go through and be comfortable enough to say the amount of bodies she has truthfully? Because women cannot be honest when you ask a woman, how many bodies have you had in your previous life? They won't even tell you the exact number. Sometimes they don't even know that they've gotten a body as a number to the amount of bodies that she totally has. So I want to know that from your perspective.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I believe it's like anywhere between the ages of 18 to 45, women have a 40% celibate rate. So I'm going to dead that in the water as far as, bodies. Women can be celibate up to the age of 40 and never have a body. But I'm only bringing that up for the simple fact that women have more self-control than men do. So if discipline is going to be equated to anything, I would believe it to be equated to self-discipline. You get what I'm saying? So she already removes the hormonal want of a man as far as out of that. So her perspective of going into a relationship, I would believe, is that she doesn't want sex. She wants something solid and something she can grab and talk to and know it's going to be there for the rest of her life, as far as a personality or whatever trauma that man might have went through that she can help with. So as far as bodies go, that's kind of problematic, because I don't want to say, something then I get in trouble for it. But how many bodies should a woman go through before she's really considered experienced? If I'm correct, the term bodies would indicate that she had sex with a lot of dudes or a lot of women. I don't know, but I would say just, within her range, if it was a comfortable number I had to project, I'd say a solid 3, 4, maybe, possibly 5.
Okay. Cool. But my thing is, I wish I could agree to that, but sadly, modern women, because we're talking about modern women, they don't tell the truth when it comes to the amount of body that's the amount of sex that they've had in their previous life. So that number to me would be nice, but that is not what they say online. What they say online is a completely different number. This is double digits that we're talking about. Well, that's what I'm talking about. But I'm glad you told me that number. So are you, so for your advice, do you think that was a sound advice by telling them that they should fuck up their life, or fuck it up, basically? Because if like you saying that, right? To me, it's like, yo, like it doesn't matter what position you are in your life. Don't give a fuck. Like no one cares, right? And that's cool. But deep down, we know that they care. And that when Mr. Right comes along and Mr. Right asks them these type of questions, they always fumble because they know that deep down, the truth hurts. And they know that deep down, by her telling her this Mr. Right the truth, it's potentially gonna fuck them up. You get what I'm saying? And I'm talking based off of literally women I meet from college to women I meet in public. When I meet a nice modern woman, I think she's got her head right, and I ask these questions, it's like I can tell that their facial expression just does not match up to the answers that they're gonna give me. And I can tell that they're lying too. So like basically what I'm saying is, like, why do you think fucking it up is such a good idea for women?
So I'm only going to speak from experience, and I'm going to admit that I was very vague when I said that, in the understanding that what I was doing was slanging. I was speaking on slang terms as far as fucking it up. I didn't actually mean to advocate women to go and fuck everyone. That's not what I was meaning. So if it came off that way, I do apologize.
Understand that. No, I completely understand that. But what I'm saying is like,
no, yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, like, sorry to cut you off, but what I'm saying is, like, to me, when I heard that the first time, it sounded like you were advocating for how they felt, and these women were clapping their hands, cheering on, and it's like one woman, one of the ladies on that show literally called us frogs and dogs. She didn't even like know what the hell she was even talking about to make a sound decision on how we men are. And the other is going through her life and she's going through some kind of crisis and she really needs help. And you're also advocating and you're saying, fuck it up. It's like, yo, like, this one woman has a bad mentality about men because she is continuously getting bad advice from the closest people around her through her experiences, through everything, through the choices that she's making because of these people around her. Another is going through almost being homeless from what I'm hearing. And you're saying, fuck it up, YOLO. Like, how are we as men supposed to lead when we've got other men like you telling them the exact opposite of what could potentially put their life together? You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I definitely hear that. And, the only thing I could really speak on is that, first, I'm not going to speak for the young lady who spoke last week. I know what you're talking about as far as the dog's comment that was made. I did not agree with that, though I did make a comment of stating that I was a loyal dog to my wife. That wasn't me okaying that. But as far as, when I said fuck it up and advocating with not fully understanding what I was really meaning to women who might take that advice literally and go fuck something up. I think I was like 18 or 19. I may be unofficially married to a Mexican woman in Rosarita. I went to Rosarita back when I was like 19. And, I had one unforgettable weekend. I went with my boys. We snorted some cocaine and, we fucked a lot of bitches and shit. And the whole thing was like, I didn't really give a fuck because I'm not from here. I'm going to cross back the border the following week or the following day, and I'm going to be up out this bitch. But the woman that I was, engaged or I really don't know what the fuck happened that night, but my friends always, they told me right after that, bro, you got married. That woman was literally, in my understanding, she was the modern woman coming from where she was in Rosarita because every man at the bar wanted her. But apparently, because I'm American, her view was like, shit, I just want to go to America. So if the modern woman in Rosarita compared to the modern woman in America, as far as if I say a statement like "fuck it up," that lady was trying to fuck it up that night. You get what I'm saying? So when in the statement that I was making was that I was speaking from experience, because that lady was ready to toss that all away. You know, I don't know what life she was living in Mexico, but I just know that for the little time I was there, she was willing to give it all up just to marry me and come back with me to the States. Now, that's not what happened, but that's just one case in what I'm speaking on. Now, granted, moving forward, I told my wife about it, and her whole thing was like, how can men just be that way? How can you guys just go do things like that and not answer to nobody? Which in actuality, that's what it was. I didn't answer to nobody. I fucked her and I left her. Her name was Gloria. I still remember to this day. There was a donkey show involved in everything. But my thing is that whenever I try to speak or say things on topics, I only ever try to speak from experience. I don't ever try to project or speculate, because that's where I get in trouble. So when I'm telling, when I'm on a podcast and I'm like, fuck it up, I'm only speaking from what I remember doing as far as the women I was involved with, the women that I knew and what they were doing, and who I thought was like, hey, you guys are good women. Fuck you. I would consider you the modern, because I don't know who the modern woman is today. Honestly, if I had to project or speculate what the modern woman is today, she is geared to succeed. And this, fuck, man, I don't want to get canceled, but she's geared to succeed, whether it comes by way of the government, society and shit. And that much I will agree with. But I'm not saying that they're that majority of women are utilizing that. But from where you're speaking from, it sounds like those are the women you're dealing with, are those who utilize that. So with that, I don't know what kind of advice or what I could say to you to really, explain my case. But it just sounds like you're really in some shit, and I'm sorry for that.
Oh, no. I'm not in no shit. I'm actually having a blast. My thing is like, I deal with women of different caliber. I don't per se go after women who are married. I'll never do that in my life. But I'm having a blast as a 23-year-old who's on a mission to get his life together, to do what he needs to do as a man. I'm having a blast. You don't have to worry about me. My thing is that, like I said, men dictate the success in society. And, from what you were saying, you were talking based off of as a man. I'm looking at the situation based off of a woman and what she also dictates as success. Because we as men are hunters. We don't give a damn how anybody feels. We go after our goals, we conquer, we do what we got to do in order to succeed. And we bring our success, which makes us feel good, to women. Majority of what men have done for society was based off of women. Women are literally one of the best encouragers to men. I think without women, men wouldn't give a damn about this world. I think we would all be lazy as fuck and, sit back and relax and let the world burn. But because women are part of our lives, we cater to them and we do every single thing we need to do. And this is based off of time and history. We do whatever we do for the sake of women. So my thing is like, when men are dictating success for women, we're also dictating it based off of the ring on their finger and their mindset, and like what I'm hearing is that it's like women hate us. And I hear this message too many times to the point where I'm like, this is complete lies anyways, because if you truly hate us, why do you even have us in your mind? Like, you're lying, right? And the thing that makes my blood boil is that women are trying to be like us. By you saying these advice, it's like you're telling women to be like us. And that's not how life works. Life does not work by trying to be like us. It won't. It just, you're born the way you are, and you are the way you are. Like, the world does not revolve around you. You have to do whatever it takes in order to get the outcomes that you want. And majority of these women ultimately want to get married to a man of substance, a man of value. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, your advice is like, it's almost like it's destroying what their outcomes are supposed to be, you know? So my question to you is like, don't you think like your advice could actually like destroy what they really want out of the outcomes that they're trying to have? Like, ultimately, they want to get married. They want a secure life. They want the family, the kids, the house, the cars. They want that life. Don't you think your advice is doing the exact opposite of what men in our generation want?
So I'm first generation born American. I'm indigenous to the island of Tonga on the Pacific Ocean. My understanding of modern society is not American. It's on a global scale.
Understood.
I come from a very
I'm foreign
I come
too.
from a
I'm
very
foreign too.
multicultural I come from a very multicultural background. And so like even with my spiritual teacher, Ashley Moshe, shout out to her. She comes from by way of the Yoruba tribes, but also on her dad's side, who is from Ghana, from the Akan tribe. They are matriarchy. They are based on matrilineal practices. So I found it funny that you truly believe that, but I'm not sure if you've ever been to Ghana. And the
I am
biggest
from
tribe in
Ghana.
the world. Well,
I'm
that's
from
what I'm
Ghana.
saying. So
I've lived there for 8 years.
So on knowing in the Gold Coast too that the biggest tribe in the world who practices matriarchy comes from Ghana, I would think you would know a little bit about the power of like, you know, a real woman. So when you reference the modern woman and what the modern woman wants, you speak from an American point of view. When I speak of the modern woman, I speak of the modern woman who comes from a global scale. So if the modern woman you're looking for only exists in America, where you live currently and are dating, understand one thing. That does not speak on a demographic that I come from and experience. So even if I believe that the world revolves around me, my experience dictates one thing, that it's factual to me because I went through it. So if I've spoken with a woman from South Africa or a woman from Beijing, China, or even from Europe and France, the one thing that was very, very common amongst the women that I've ever involved myself with was that their point of view was not American. They were not limited. It wasn't based on like what men could do for them. It's that they were traveling around the world seeking more. So if I promote anything to women, if I speak anything to women, is that don't be limited to your surroundings. I literally told you in the beginning of this podcast, you kind of put yourself in a box and it's like one dimensional. So like a horse with blinders on, you only see what's in front of you. You can't see what's around you. And that's okay. That's totally fine. If you've lived in Africa and Ghana, then that's totally fine. But if you've only experienced from there to America, the pipeline is very thin. There doesn't seem like you have a lot of experience from outside of that diaspora. So I would ask you to really broaden your horizons on what the actual modern woman is, because don't westernize it. That's a Western problem. When you begin to jump into this thing of, oh, but this is the modern, no, modern woman is dictated by Western standards. If you really want to find the modern woman, you're gonna end up finding out she's just as smart as you, if not smarter. She wants just as much as you do, if not more. And she's as successful as you are, if not more. That should really, how would I say, advocate or push you or motivate or inspire you to do more with your life. And that's who I found in my wife, is that I went all around the world looking for a woman that was in my backyard the whole time, from the same island I was. And the crazy thing about it was she don't ask for too much. She does, enough to get by. And the coolest thing about her is that, just like me in a lot of ways, that we don't do too much to prove a lot, but the enough that we do for each other speaks volumes. So I try to promote and advocate that much more through the content that I project in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. But that just comes with research and studies if you learn that about me. But I never try to project anything that would be harmful or counterproductive to the modern woman, because the modern woman to me is not the modern woman to you.
Okay. Cool. You do got a point there, but you know, I do broaden my horizon. But the thing is that from my knowledge of the modern women, not only from a westernized society that I'm in now, but also from a cultural society from Ghana, it's literally almost the same, you know. Now that the internet has become part of our life, you know, information is, you know, transferred very quickly. I mean, information is power now. So by you thinking like, because you're still underestimating that because I'm young and you only think that I think in one dimensional. I actually don't. I think in both dimensional. I think of marriage for me at a certain age. Once I get ready for that, I know what to do in order to make the family succeed. And I'm gonna learn more about it as the time goes by. But I also think about the single life of what I'm going through and what modern women to this day are going through. Information now is like the modern women have gotten so powerful, especially from not only the Western world to the typical wife duty roles that women were always doing in the past. It's gotten so powerful. These women have gotten so powerful to the point that being a wife, catering to the husband, is slavery. It's like your mindset as a woman is like women now are like beating each other up just because one believes one way and the other doesn't agree with what they believe. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, if you believe that way, stick to that belief and keep that there. But men today are more marriage minded than majority of these women out here. Modern women have become so powerful, especially on the media, to the point that it's now the message is now traveling all the way down to third world countries. And these women think that they can be a feminist in a third world country and think that would work. You get what I'm saying? And this is from the information I've gotten from broadening my horizon. And I'm advocating for women to not listen to advice like what you're saying, because at the end of the day, it's ruining their life. According to the American Society Psychological Association, the consequences for sex for women's degree of depression symptoms increase with the number of previous sex partners. Women's overall self-esteem score lower compared to those without uncommitted sexual experiences. And like I said, like your words can be so powerful to the point that if a woman who won't listen to a man's rules, who won't listen to a man's orders, rules, like if she doesn't follow what she's supposed to naturally do in order for her to succeed with a man, how the hell are they succeeding? How do you why do you think these women are succeeding? Just because, like, what is success to you when it comes to these women? Like, I really want to know, because men are not a big fan of these modern women that you talk about, or the knowledge of the modern women you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think about that? Like, I really want to know.
Real quick, sorry to
Okay.
interject. Hey, sorry to interject real quick, fellas. You can, yeah, give you guys a few minutes to wrap it up real quick. I do want to give the gentleman also some time for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, I'll make it quick.
So yeah. So I know you guys have different views, but yeah. If you guys can just wrap it up in a couple of minutes, and then so I allow the gentlemen to share their piece so that they can be part of the podcast as well. Thank you guys. Go ahead, Savage.
Appreciate you, Will. Thank you. So I would assume that you're Ghanaian. Your mother and father are Ghanaian.
Yeah.
Your sisters, brothers, aunties, grandmas, grandpas, they're Ghanaian. So I don't know if the Ghanaian woman is the same woman as the African American woman or the white woman or the Asian woman. So I don't know what the diaspora of women you date are. But if success is to be equated to anything, I would say that where are you speaking from? Because the success rate in the community I come from is very low. There's not a lot actually, being that I'm a Tongan person, a Tongan man, the level of success in our community, I would say, I'm not speaking from statistics or numbers, but I would say majority of the men are very successful. And I'm just speaking from the athlete's point of view, whether it's rugby, football, if there is basketball by way of Jabari Parker, Steven Adams, I'm going to equate that because of what I know from experience. So if I'm going to speak on the woman's success from my community, which is always what I advocate for, is speaking from experience, is that the modern woman in who I'm speaking to, whenever I advocate and promote that shit, that's who I'm speaking to. Because, Will makes the claim that it's the #1 Polynesian podcast. And I want that to be true. It has to be true one day so that the women who are listening to this know that, hey, I understand even in America, you're not even succeeding. Which is why it goes back to the whole 1% thing. We don't amount to 1%. So those women are primarily who I speak to as far as the Pacific Islander community. If I'm misinforming or miseducating, if I'm not specifying that enough, and there's a young Indian girl or a young European girl that's like, oh, this man on a podcast talking about, so and so, and he told us to go fuck it up. Within context, I was speaking within the platform. You know what I'm saying? I would never in a million years go to an American seminar and be like, hey, women, fuck, because I understand the differences in the communities that are out there right now. So what I would tell a Tongan woman here is not the same thing I would tell a white woman or a black woman. Absolutely not. I would not, because the studies and statistics are far too different. So as far as the modern woman, the crazy thing about it is most people who watch the podcast, what they're really triggered by is Will hits them with facts. You know what I'm saying? So the facts over the feelings diaspora is what really grabs people, because the numbers is what's eating at people. But then when Will has the podcast on a Wednesday where we're speaking on the Pacific Island diaspora, it's like whether, hey, you're from New Zealand, you're from Fiji, you're from Hawaii or Vanuatu or Papua New Guinea, whatever the case is. Here's a bunch of men on this panel or women, and we're trying to advocate this and that. So we're teaching that class first, and where Will has a more multiversal on a Saturday and other days. And then, I noticed that's where you came from, is originally from that group. So if that be the case, then the success rate in the community I come from is absolutely low, I would believe, for women.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool.
All right.
All right, cool.
Go ahead.
No, keep going. My bad, Will. My bad. Cool.
No, fellas. Thank you so much. Obviously, both of you guys have different views, and thank you for taking the time to explain yourselves in your views and explain yourselves of how you guys responded last week. I do want to ask you, if you guys don't mind, can you guys just end off your final thoughts on how you guys handled this? Based on what happened last week and how you guys reflected. Your self-reflection on what happened last week. I think that's really, really important. I do want the people to hear how you self-reflected what happened last week. And then after this conversation, face-to-face, what's your final thoughts on that? If you can share that piece. Go ahead, Savage, if you don't mind.
No, well, first and foremost, I definitely do want to apologize now that I have Daniel here. I want to apologize to you formally because of how I responded and reacted to your comments immaturely. That is not who I am. That's not what I represent. So I would ask forgiveness in the sense that you will never hear that come from me again. Now that we've properly introduced each other and laid some common ground, understand that the next time we have dialogue, that dialogue we have, we can speak on an even playing field, regardless of your experience and my experience and your age and my age, that although I'm 10 years your senior, I respect you and you've officially earned my respect. Thank you for that, brother.
For sure. And I accept your apology. I already knew you were talking out of your emotions. We as men, we're kind of good at control our emotions, but we're also terrible at it at the same time. So I understand where you are coming from. What I don't understand is that, you know, for me, when I said what I said, I was coming out of criticism because it was a conversation between you talking to women, you know, and by me not agreeing to your advice, like I was just trying to let women know that like your advice is not like going in depth, and they're gonna take it in the wrong way to the point that they're gonna feel great about the advice that you're giving them. Whereas a guy like me who is hearing is knowing that, you know, their advice, like your advice, is gonna continue the path that they're still on, and it's not gonna lead to an outcome that benefits them. You know, what I didn't like was like the insults. And I get, you know, you were in your feelings. I get it. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I was poking your anger on purpose. You know, it wasn't cool on my part too, but at the same time too, it was also a good way to make this conversation and this podcast more popular. But what I didn't like was like the part when you said like quit that little dick energy. You know, for me, hearing that is like this is like this is the problem with modern women. This is the problem with feminism. Like we got men now talking like women. I don't think men ever came up with this phrase, quit that little dick energy. Like I've never, like, even in my personal life, never heard that from anyone, from my friends, from any of the girls I've dated. Like I've never heard that in my life. And that's the problem that I have with the messages that we as men portray on such a valuable source. And if we as men continue to follow what the modern women say and we advocate for their feelings and we talk like this, it's like we're not preparing men to be men. You know, my favorite show, probably one of the greatest show when it comes to the pure message of what we're going through to this day, is Boondocks. One of I forgot the guy in the show, but the old guy, there was this part of the show where the old guy dies, comes back to life. He's the biggest dickhead in this show, and he says he was in a fight with Louis and the family, the three boys and their grandpa, and he's like, "Get your balls up, pick them up, get the balls up, get your balls up, nigga." You know, that's my favorite like phrase from the show, because you as a man have to get your balls up. You can't talk like this. You can't talk like women. Women talk like this, you know, and it's not cool to talk like this because, like, for example, you don't know my size of my dick, you know, and I don't think it's an information that should be out there on the internet. You feel what I'm saying? So by you doing that, it's like we don't come to a conclusion when it comes to this discussion. And when it comes to agreements and disagreements between me and my friends, we always come to a conclusion. We end up talking it out. We never really talk, like we never really insult each other. We come to a conclusion when it comes to disagreements. And I think we didn't do a good job of doing that when that situation happened. And I ain't gonna lie, I also hold myself accountable to poking at your feelings each time you talk. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I also got on my feelings about some of the things you were saying about me. But at the same time, too, I was very calm about it because I knew and I understood that you were on your feelings too, you know. But at the same time, too, we as men, when we communicate, we have to come to a conclusion that this is the only way we can move on. And we can't talk to each other like girls. We're men, you know. Like, we can't advocate for each other's feelings because at the end of the day, we dictate the success of everything. So that's just my thought about this whole thing.
All right.
No, yeah, definitely. I've never seen your penis. I'm pretty sure it's a good-looking penis. No homo.
Come on, bro.
Whether it's uncircumcised or circumcised, I apologize about that ultimately too. So that I do agree. We need a better word. That I don't know where the little dick energy comes from, whether it's men or women, but I absolutely agree.
Savage, next time just use your original word, happy penis. That's your own original word that you use. All right, fellas, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the fellas. Savage, Daniel, Pida, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for jumping on and having this one-on-one discussion. And if you're doing this face-to-face, I believe that's how all men should handle all problems. Whether it's verbal, whether it's online or if it's real life. I think we should always seek solutions, and solutions always come from having discussions. And but like I said, we're all human. At the end of the day, I want to make sure everybody understands that we are humans. At the end of the day, we do have emotions, and we're not perfect. But that's why this discussion is important. That's why surrounding yourself with good people, self-improvement, growth, improving yourself as a man is important. And thank you so much for people watching. If you love the content, press that like and subscribe button real quick. I see a lot of people in live chat comments. Thank you so much for the live chat. Get your feedback. I see a lot of people with
emotional damage
on the live chat. So anyway, appreciate the feedback you guys are giving us. But yeah, Savage and Daniel, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. I think it was a great conversation. I appreciate that you guys can agree to disagree. And you guys are, I see it, you guys are basically friends now. Basically friends now, right? Which is good. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on to the fellas. Thank you for being so waiting patiently. Siaosi, Taniela, Simone King, thank you for jumping on. So fellas, I want to ask your input to give you guys your opportunity to speak, to add your thoughts on how based on what you saw happen last week, and then add your thoughts on the conversation they just had, and also add your thoughts on the topic as well, on how should men handle conflict with other men. I'll start with you, Siaosi. Siaosi, what's your thoughts about how it started, how they handled it today, and then how it ended, and any thoughts you want to add on to that? Go ahead, Siaosi.
First of all, I wanted to say great respect to both of you, Daniel and Savage. I believe that after hearing you guys discuss the things that you guys discussed, make me kind of pieces to pieces from last week. I know I jumped in late, and I jumped in right when Savage went off, and but this is great a podcast, because I feel like this is what men should learn to do. They have a conversation when it comes to confrontation. Talk about it. I know we men normally, I myself am guilty of using other resources to solve confrontation. And I think you should understand that this is the way we solve confrontation. Come up with a solution, talk about it, have a conversation. And I bet you there's a lot of books out there that could help you, each and every one of the youth, how to, discuss things and how to remain neutral, so that we do not get caved into to our emotion. Because sometimes, we always go back to once we gain into our emotion, we get trapped, and that's when we make dumb decisions in a lot of ways. And just by hearing your conversation, guys, you guys did a really good job. I basically got reminded how better, more informed you guys are with women than I am. I'm old school. Uh, but I feel like just hearing your conversation, there's key points there where you guys go back and forth, and I can tell that sometimes your emotion comes out, which is good. Just going back, like, just keep in mind when you have a conversation like this, try to find a solution. And by doing so, find common grounds. That's the best way to be able to hear each other's thoughts instead of getting into our emotions, is find common grounds. Because once you find that, then you guys can figure out, all right, I disagree, I agree, I disagree, and I agree. But props to you guys and have great respect. This is something that I need to learn more of as well too, how to handle conversation, is having a conversation with people when it comes to confrontation.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Siaosi. Malo Pito. And I'll pass on to Taniela. Taniela, yeah, what's your thoughts about how it happened last week, how it unraveled, how this conversation tonight? Any thoughts you want to add on to how men should handle conflict with other men? Go ahead, Taniela.
Yeah, I think we had a similar conversation prior. And just to Savage, you're in my prayers. For some reason, there's a fatherly instinct in me that I see in you currently, that there might be some storms in your own life. So offer you my loto, whether you believe it or not. And it goes deeper than what we're discussing. But essentially what we're doing here today is what I advocate for with men. If you have a problem, find the time and space in private to hash it out. Whether you come to a agreeable solution or not, the goal of the conversation is to lead it to a place where you both know where you stand. Here are my values. You've challenged it. It's as robust as I put it out to be. Let's move forward, go a different direction or whatever that may be, or help each other. Just a little tip to you, Daniel. Conversation went really great. However, at the end, after Savage apologized, to me as a man, I think that's the end. By the lead on after that, going into explaining what you disagreed with and ultimately bringing up the size and whatnot, to me that's you are subconsciously baiting yourself into your emotions again. Most men won't be agreeable as Savage in that sense, and they will reignite that argument, and you end up at essentially square zero. So that just the tip, whether you want to take it and run with it or not. But ultimately, this is what more men need to do. Social media is so flustered now with a lot of these activists in the men's space who just talk about shit rather than going out to the community, rather than going out and finding the issues and solving them. You don't solve them by putting up a post or talking shit out into the internet. And this, man, respect to both of you for agreeing to do this. And yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you. Like, for me, like, no hard feelings at all. Like, I understood how, like, the whole thing was going, I understand, like I said, I understand how Savage felt. I understood that there was a form of miscommunication between me and Savage. So all I cared about is the results of what we talked about. I want men and women to win at the end of the day, because if women are having the miscommunication between us and we're telling them directly what they need to hear in order to win, I don't want other men to say something else and then I just don't want them to hear the message wrong. I want them to hear a direct message, like how men feel, and move according to the information they get. Like I said, it's up to them what they want to do, because they're adults now. But at the same time too, I just want men and women to win. If men win, women are gonna win too. So I agree with you on that. I have no hard feelings towards any of this topic.
Yeah, I love that. You'll find it as you get closer to 30, the I want all men and women to win will become I want the woman that's right in front of me to win. It's the experience will change. But hey, Love it. Experience it.
No worries, no worries. All right, Taniela, thank you so much, man. Thank you for your feedback. Always appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to our public guests real quick. Don't forget, this is a live podcast. I've dropped the public Zoom link. I've pinned it on top of the chat. So if you guys want to be part of this conversation, and we have a group of fellas here, so I know there's some ladies on there. Ladies, come on down. Come on down and join the conversation. All right, I would love to hear your feedback as well. Be part of this. Even though I do have a lot of males on here, but I would love to hear your feedback, ladies. But yeah, we don't bite, ladies. We don't bite. But I'll pass it on to Samoan King. Thank you for jumping on. Uso, go ahead, man. What's your thoughts about the whole conversation? I don't know if you watched last week's podcast, but share your thoughts on how everything unraveled tonight.
Man,
and your thoughts on the topic. How should men handle conflict with other men? Go ahead, Samoan King.
Man, peace and love to the family, man. Marlo Lele, Saipe. I know my little tongue in here and there, you know what I'm saying? But peace and love to the family, man. Everybody, thank you, Will, for having me on, man. I appreciate you guys, man. But just to go over, just a recap of what I was hearing, man, I just wanted to jump on and just give my 2 cents or my 3 cents or whatever. Man, you guys handled it well, man. I'm just happy you guys settled that shit, like this. Y'all decided to meet up face to face and chop it up, which I agree with. That's cool, man. You guys, but here's the crazy thing. You guys both had your opinions about, the topic last week about the women and the modern day women.
Yeah.
I'm happy you guys settled it. You guys both have your opinions, and no one can have emotions and take it so literal. We can't take this to heart. We can't go to sleep with this shit when we knock out. We can't go to sleep and think about the podcast and think about, oh, he said this. If we're going to be creators and content, on live and stuff like that, we have to be able to take criticism and take all these comments from all these type of people, man, all over the world. So, that's just advice. When we're doing this live, we're going to have a bunch of people talking shit about us and fucking this and that, don't agree, talk about our penis size and talk about our mama, daddy, whatever. But I agree that you guys, I'm happy you guys did that and met up and chopped it up and you guys gave y'all opinions. Another thing, communication can save a nation. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you guys can communicate as men shows me you guys are leaders in some type of way, shape, or form. You guys can actually handle a situation and actually meet up and resolve shit. Because that's the last thing we want to do. The last thing we want to do is go to war. We want to resolve it first. I like what Will said. He said that last time. I heard him say it. But the last thing we really want to do is go to war and put our families and all of our people around us in a predicament, in a situation that's going to harm us and actually fuck up our dreams and our goals. It's just like everybody who has a chance to walk down the street. I don't give a fuck if you're buff as fuck, you got big ass muscles, right? And you walking down the street, here's a prime example. There's no difference from the guy who's walking around big, buff, and tough and a skinny, scrawny dude that's walking around ready to start a fight, a crackhead, a different situation like that. It don't matter the size. Our best solution is to get the fuck away from it. That's the best thing you can do after you resolve. If it's a confrontation between men, you can communicate and then get away with it. But I'm happy you guys did that and chopped it up amongst each other and on the podcast live. Y'all did it publicly. But another thing, I really want to touch on this, though, about the women. I want to go back to that subject, too, about women and the modern day women. The reason why...
Samoan, hold that topic, because I'm going to bring that discussion back at the end.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back full circle. I got you, Samoan.
All right, most deaf.
I got you.
Bet. But, hey, man, I appreciate... Hey, Savage, man, we got to link up, my host. Toko, we got to link, my brother. I got some shit for you. I love yo. I just want to give some props out, give some love to my host Savage real quick, because, man, this is what I'm talking about when you represent your culture and your people. You know what I'm saying? You thong a faux live. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Long Beach. I'm from Long Beach, California. So I know all my tongue and faux line homies. And I got nephews and nieces that are tonguing and all that. Samoan SOS. You know how that goes. But you a very knowledgeable motherfucker. That's what I want to tell you. And so we really have to come together as a people. Even you too, Daniel, Peter, you too. You know, we all have to come together as a people. There's only one race.
Invite me too. Invite me.
All right,
too.
Fatty, you up in this too, my man.
Thank you.
You in this too. We all in this. We in this together as men to get this information that I can say that the Palangi man, you know, the white man can actually, that's hiding from us the information that we need to actually get through the cycle that we're living in. I actually truly believe we are all living in a corporation society. We're born into this United States corporation, and you're given this title to act a certain way, to watch certain things. First of all, you get put into a system, an educational system, from kindergarten, from K through 12. That's the first lie we fucked up on. First of all, that's the first thing we fucked up as a man and as a people. To get this information, this false information, we're imputing into our kids that actually, when they get older, they teach the same thing. So it's a cycle thing. We have to break the cycle as men. We have to actually wake the fuck up, wake up and pay attention. If you want to be, you know, that shit, you want to be somebody, you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention, because this shit is real. This shit in Russia, this shit was predicted. The COVID-19 is predicted fucking 10, 15 years ago. This is a plan. But we just got to really wake up and pay attention and take care of our women. Point blank. Women to me is God. Without the women, there is no man. To me, I was a whole magnet like Savage. I know that shit. I know that feeling. I get it. I get that. I'm good now. I'm just telling you my experience from what I went through as well. Because we all kings. Remember this. But the women to us are the gods. Without the women, we can't be shit. We have to remember how to put our women first. The women comes first, then the man. It's fucked up how they try to do this cycle, how women, they have the right to vote. They psychologically fucked us up already. Got to remember that. Until we realize how to put this shit in perspective of the woman, they carried a baby for 9 months, right? They got the power. That's why man was not given the power to give birth. The strongest woman in the world, the strong person in the world is a woman. Point blank. Once I start realizing, because my mama takes care of the shit. Your mama takes care of the shit. All our mamas take care of that shit. Our dads, they teach us how to be tough, how to be rough, and here and there. But when we realize what the woman does, man, bro, that shit will open up our eyes to treat women, to remind the women that are living in this modern day society on actually how to live life, because the men have to be checked as well. But go ahead, brother Will. I know you ready to get it too. Go ahead, man. I love this topic, man. I love this shit. This is what I do too. I'm a creator too. I love this shit. And I love building with my brothers and sisters that love this shit and information, because knowledge is power. And if we do not get this knowledge, we are going to be left behind. Oh God, seriously. Like seriously, brothers. If we don't come together as a whole, as a man, as a people, motherfucker, there's only one race. It's the human race. But we as a people that are melanated, that actually have melatonin and melanation in the skin, we have a little, once we wake the fuck up, we have that, that white privilege he was talking about earlier, a couple podcasts ago. Shit, that shit's real too. But once we wake up, man, let's get it. Let's get it, man. I'm down with you.
No worries, I got you. No worries, I got you. Yeah.
Hey,
thank you so much.
Yep.
I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Right. Next week, he said women are goddess, so next week the beef is between me and Samoan. You can schedule that, and on Wednesday we are going to talk about it.
I knew Patty was gonna say something.
Let's go.
So you can schedule that.
No worries, there's no beef. There's no beef because I'm vegan, bro. We don't eat meat. We don't eat meat. We vegan over here, baby.
Hey, you think the WWE all beefs are real?
Let's go. Hey.
All right. So thank you, Samoan King. Yeah, and also just
yes, sir.
Always thank you for sharing. And that war quote I mentioned was it was for I mentioned in the video I posted on Monday. A wise king never seeks out war, but should always be ready for war. I think mentioned that we shouldn't be seeking conflict, but we should always be strong enough to be ready for conflict, because that's our role. Me and Taniela always talk about it. As men, we have to provide and protect Yeah, I'll pass it to Fatty. Fatty, what's your thoughts on the discussion at hand? And of course, you were there last week, and then how this conversation between Daniel and Savage. What's your thoughts, Fatty?
What you were saying, like it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. It's exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a problem of communication. Starting with Savage, I told you guys last week. I don't know what part of him is a WWE character and what a part of his is an intelligent, articulated. He really has two sides of him, and I honestly still don't know what type of guy he is for real. But the thing is, and talking about the problem in itself, it was an emotional outburst, and Savage is a big guy, and it's very dangerous for a guy like that probably has a lot of confidence in his overall power to have those kind of outbursts, because if he was in traffic, that will be a fucked up situation. And I'm not saying for him, but for the other guy, for example. So on real life, and I'm a big guy too, and I was a bully when I was younger, I had to control my emotions, because with more power come more responsibility. And if you are a guy that usually are the big dog on the situation, you need to be extra careful with your emotions, because you can cause a lot of damage. Right now, this time it was on a conversation, so it was okay. We had time to cool off and to talk about it. But it's dangerous because on a day-to-day basis, and I don't know if Savage is like that on his real life, it can be dangerous. So I appreciate the fact that he didn't have to think about it 3 days before he understood that it was an emotional outburst and he had to apologize. That's the thing that I respect in people. I remember last week I was talking to him and I was saying that we should teach our kids to learn the difference between what makes you wet and what makes you happy. And he checked me he said, you want to have that taught in schools? And I have to think a little bit about it, and I retracted my statement exactly like that, because we have to be accountable for what we say, and we have to understand when we say fucked up shit, we need to fall back. So we all agree that it was an emotional outburst, and I think that's solved. On the part of Daniel, exactly what Taniela said. And Daniel is a young guy. It's a part of conflict resolution. When somebody extends the olive branch, you smash it, and don't try to, oh, but I was hurt by this. We understand it, and it's totally logical, but don't try to talk about it, because some guys, especially in person, they will reignite really fast. If I extend the olive branch and you still want to talk about it, that will be a problem for a lot of guys. So it's not about what you said in particular, because I don't think it was that bad. You're criticizing an opinion, but be careful with that when you are trying to solve a problem, because we understand. It's the same thing with women. When we solve a problem and they still keep talking about it, and 2 days later, you know that's going to be problems. So you need to understand that when it's squashed. And for this situation, I think this is the proof that the world we have a lot of problems in common, but it's still a little bit different from zone to zone. I live in Europe, some guys live in the US, you guys live on the Pacific Islands. And what Savage said, compared to what he said today, it explains that it was a misunderstanding, because for him to experience is to have 3 or 5 women. In Portugal, Europe, 5 women, if you have 5 women by 30, you are a virgin. Those numbers are being getting those numbers by 21 before they head into college. So the problem with telling, I'm a very pragmatic guy. If I go to a woman and I say, hey, do you think I should lose weight? And she goes, no, you are perfect for me. And I ask her again, yeah, but to get more results with other women, should I lose more weight? I need her to tell me what is going to work. I don't need her to tell me what is going to be good for my ego, good for my self-esteem. I need to do what is going to work. And the problem with what Seva said is exactly like that. women are not going to pick up have one or two boyfriends, have like a one night stand, and then when you're ready, go to get the guy. No, they are going to engulf in sex. They are going to be pursuing pleasure from 3, 4, 5 years, and then when the rain stops, and when in Portugal, he says, when the music stops and the lights go up, everyone starts to look at who is on the disco floor to get someone to go to take them home. And that's what women are doing right now. They are going to the club at 11 p.m. They are dancing and drinking for 5 or 6 hours. And then when exactly 5 minutes before the disco close, they are rushing, trying to pick someone and to take them home. First, is not a good idea because you are going to get kids by someone that is not really worth it. Because if you don't have time, if you don't have time and if you are on the biological clock, you are going to have the kid no matter what. The second part is, like Danielle said.
If Fatty, if you don't mind, if I can interject, just save that topic for modern women. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But I just want to focus on the kind of handling the conflict.
On the conflict. Yeah, but on this part, I think it's resolved. It was an emotional burst. We got to talk it out. I appreciate, and at the end of the show, I said I like you guys to talk because I saw Daniel on the panel before, and I already been seeing Savage for so long, and I know he's the colorful dude. So I understand that you guys could talk. If I thought it was like something that can be solved, I wouldn't say that. If it was 2 women, I wouldn't say that. But we as men have to do better. And if we can lead by example, if we do the same bullshit that the girls usually do, we are nobodies to be here talking about we should do this, you should that, you should do this, you should that. So it's solved. I think it's perfect. Next week, me and Samoan King, and don't stream from behind the bushes, okay? You need to be seated at the table.
Hey, Fatty, you don't want that smoke, Fatty.
Big with nature. Hey,
but real quick. No, I got you. I got you, Daniela. First and foremost, I just want to say, because I want to pass it to Daniel and Daniela, Savage real quick, Daniela, and I'll come back right to you. I wanted to give the time to the fellas to be able to respond and give Savage and Daniel their criticism and feedback. The one thing that's important, not only they had a conversation, but I think it's also important that Savage and Daniel took the time to listen to other men and handle that criticism for other men. I think that's one of the things that it is important for men, is to be able to be held accountable and be open to be criticized by other men. Especially other men who have the experience, who have the knowledge, who are in leaders in the community. I know oftentimes for a lot of men they're not open to it, to hear it. And I just want to say thank you, Savage and Daniel, for not only having this conversation, but being open to hear from us as well, from other men, about the things that we said about from our feedback. I just wanted to pass it to you guys real quick. You guys just heard these guys give their criticisms and their feedback to how that thing went. I just want to ask you guys, what was your thoughts on the things they said? And I just want to hear from you guys real quick. I'll start with you, Savage. Yeah, Savage, thank you so much. What was your thoughts about everything that was shared by these guys based on how you handled that? I want to hear your thoughts, Savage. Go ahead.
Nah, I definitely accepted everything. I took everything that they said, and all I can really do is save it in my library of mental knowledge, because at the end of the day, it's whether I accept it or not, it's meant for me to hear on the outside perspective, and hopefully I can use that to improve my quality as a podcaster or a feature on somewhere or whatever, so that I'm able to round my responses or dialogue better whenever I'm responding to certain situations. But yeah, definitely, I had nothing wrong with what anybody said. I only hope and pray that whoever was listening and whoever tuned in and watched, that, this is how it is. I don't know what's normalized these days, where I come from, like, growing up in California, like, it's not so clean and cut like this. You can't sit down and just talk shit out. Sometimes motherfuckers get aired out, and that's the end of it. You never hear about them again. And that's just what, oh yeah, he on a shirt now. But
realistically, this is what I want to be normalized. If anything be said or remembered about me, it was like, although that motherfucker Savage say a lot of shit, man, he's an upstanding guy. And that's it. If my kids can hear that about me, by all means, I don't give a fuck about nothing else. I still get my dick sucked from my wife. I have good meals and shit, and everything is good after that. So, none of this, I never lose sleep on. But except the stuff that I take with me as far as advice and the criticism, that much I do hold value to. You can talk about my mom. You can talk about my bald-headed granny and shit. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But when it's like, when I'm a constant, when I'm constantly showing up on this podcast and I'm speaking from my experience, that much, as far as what Fatty was saying was that, yeah, I do have a lot of responsibility, and that is power. And I try to hold myself to a standard. So that's the reason why I got on here tonight, was to make a statement that we don't have to be, what they did in the past. We can build a whole new path. So with that being said,
La paja all day.
With Daniel Pida, I hope to feature more to where I can speak from a point of view now that's like helpful to you in your class. Because honestly, yes, this modern woman whole thing that's going on with the new class of dating, I probably wouldn't survive. But then just to say that too, the modern woman wouldn't survive in my time either. She straight up I just would have played her ass and left her anyway. So.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Savage. Yeah, Toko, your volume was unusually kind of high a little bit. Usually it kind of went up a little bit, Toko. But yeah, Toko, thank you so much. I'll pass it on to Daniel. Daniel, real quick. Hey, Daniel, you just got a chance to hear the feedback from a lot of the fellas. They gave you some constructive criticism on how you handled it. What do you think?
This is why I love being a man, because I have other people to hold me accountable. This is why I do what I do. This is why I expand the way I do, because I'm hungry for knowledge. I understand that I am young. I am willing to learn from anybody. I am empathetic about how people feel, or how people's perspective, in order for me to grow, how they communicate to me will help me. I'm always hungry to grow. I'm always hungry to learn. And I appreciate you guys for telling me exactly how I need to improve, with my communication, with the way I carry myself and everything. I definitely want to thank you guys, especially you, Will, for giving me the chance to explain myself. And to you, Savage, I thank you for also hearing me out. I never say these things to hurt anybody. I want to make that point blank and clear. I may care about women's feelings to a certain degree, but overall, I care about the success and the outcomes that they say they want and what men say they want. I want to make this point blank and clear that men today are also putting in the work for the sake of their outcomes and what they want. And I just want women to know that we care about you. We're putting in the work for y'all too. But at the same time too, like, if you guys say something and then do the exact opposite, it's like we're going in circles. This has been going on for a very, very long time. And I think that it would be fair for y'all to put the same effort that, like I said, y'all put towards your jobs and education towards us, because like I said in the past, we men are simple. We really, we really just want sex, silence, and a sandwich. And that's all, and I want women to make that into their head less complicated than it should be. But I too, I'm a complicated dude. I have a long way to go, and I thank you guys for putting me accountable. I appreciate that. That's the only way to grow. So I want to grow.
All right, no worries. All right. Right. Sex, silence, and sandwich. You forgot to add head. You forgot that.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Don't forget that. All right, no worries. Yeah, thank you so much to all that's watching. Like and subscribe real quick. I'm sorry. Oh man, I have a lot of super chats I did not get to read out. Damn it. I can't go back. But yeah, I just want to read out a super chat donation.
He's getting so much money that he can't even count it. That's good.
Fatty says 5 is too low for a whole phase. Most women have those numbers by 21. And I remember you did a super chat donation before. I'm uncircumcised. You are offended. So I just want to read out my super chats real quick for everybody out there. Thank you, Fatty, for the super chat donations. Everybody out there want to support the channel. You want a specific topic or question to be answered live, ask it through a super chat donation. But yeah, like and subscribe to the content. We love the content so far and the discussion. Yeah, Daniela, I'm gonna pass it to you, and I'll come back full circle to the brothers. Daniela, you have something to share. Go ahead, Daniela.
It wasn't too much. I was basically just going to add on to what Samoan King was saying, in the sense that exactly how he's defining women is when men like us, in the sense of we have strong morals and values who are in great relationship, is how we see our women. And we see those women in those in that light, in terms of being powerful women who are powerful in their own way because they are fully comfortable in their femininity. This is why we talk about femininity in women when we look at these, when we have these podcasts. We actually don't hate women in the sense that we're talking about these topics so that we downplay women. No. A woman who's feminine and is strong in her femininity, who comes into a strong man's world and is able to be able to work along the masculinity that we bring to the table, she's a lot more powerful than most women put it out to be. And this whole thing about having children, and what Samoan King was saying, our mothers raised us in that sense, and we look to them in the way that we look at the women that we want in our lives. That's why we talk about the body count. And the bigger question is, why is the body count? Because this is, men also have this completely wrong in the same sense too. Why is the body count so important for a woman when we vet them? It's not about an insecurity. It's more to do with how nurturing that woman is. In your body as a female, there is a hormone that deals directly with what makes you a nurturing woman. When you have sex, this is one of the time that hormone is regulated. It's regulated because your body is essentially telling you, I am getting ready to bear children. I need to realign myself to be able to be nurturing through this phase. And not only that, be nurturing in the phase where this human being, this life, comes in after that. When you go through the hoe phase, like we discussed before, and you have sex with any man that comes across your way or who you pick, you over-regulate this hormone. Go and speak to any woman who's had more than 10 sexual partner and is still pursuing the hoe phase, how nurturing she is. You can tell just by behavior and attitude that she's not. And don't tell me this is bullshit. Go and speak to sex workers and women like that. Like, that is why the body count matters. It's not because of an insecurity or you've had sex with other dudes. No, it's not. It's how we gauge your nurturing nature. And men who go into long-term relationship or looking for long-term commitment usually have children in the cards. Vast majority of men who go into those long-term relationships have children on the card. And if you're not nurturing, how are you meant to raise my child? That's essentially why the body count is very important for us when we vet women for long term. If we're just having a casual sex, we don't give a damn. As long as you look pretty, that's it. And even sometimes we don't even care what you look like. But that's where women are so confused in this whole topic about the body count and whatnot. Oh, you shouldn't judge a person by their past. It's not necessarily just their past. It's the future that I have with you. Is that in jeopardy? Look, a man who's great with good value and have great sex will always keep a woman. But a woman who's too experienced in sex will leave your ass. Because she doesn't need you for sexual pleasure anymore. She can do it on her own. So that's a risk to us. If you're going to be my wife, I want to know 100% that you're going to be there throughout all the shit that we go through. And you're going to have my kids. And that we're going to do this together as the future generation is within our care. That's why it matters. It's not about insecurity. So I just wanted to add that on.
All right, no worries. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to Siaosi, but I would just add on to what Taniela said. Also, one thing for a lot of guys why body count matters, especially the whole phase, is we have like a paternity, right? If a woman has multiple sexual partners, like how can we really gauge that the kid is really ours? I mean, unless you want to take her word for it, but that means you have to really trust that woman. But that's one of the things, like biologically, like we are repulsed by women because we want to ensure that our kid is ours. So it's logically better to go with a woman that doesn't have a habit of sleeping with a lot of men because it gives us more 100% paternity that, oh, that child is mine. But if you go with a woman that's been sleeping with 100 men the last 6 months, like she gets pregnant, like how do you really know? It's yours or the other 100 men that she just ran through the last 6 months. So you're just gonna take her.
As an example.
So you're just gonna take her word for it. But go ahead, Daniel.
Sorry.
Just
I'll use this as an example, right?
Daniela,
my wife is in the comment. She's typing in the comment. Yeah.
Okay, just one thing. I will let him finish. It's just one second. You see how you explain science to everybody, everyone on the panel understand it, but our woman on the chat, I disagree with Taniela. You disagree with science? Why? Why? It doesn't suit you? Why?
Yeah.
You can go. So I'm sorry.
So I had this conversation with my wife, essentially. So we spoke on both our past experience, right? I know my wife has had her experience. She was a single mom prior to my time. And everything that me and her went through is an exception to the rule. She's a single mother. She's had her phase. However, this is what trumped it all for me. She was a feminine woman in the sense that even when we were not serious, when we were dating for over 9 months, she took care of me. I was very ambitious at 22 at the time when I met her, and I would sleep on site, on the construction site as an early on manager, 3 days on. This woman would turn up every night with a pillow, fresh blanket, dinner, and she would leave me the fuck alone. If I didn't text her for multiple days or weeks, she would leave me alone. That trumped her past. That trumped who she was as a single mother. That trumped that because why? I know this woman catered to my need as a man prior to me even committing to her. That's an exception. That's a very small part of the population that I was dating at the time. And I dated a single mother before her. And I can tell you the vast difference. That's an exception. Majority of the women that I get to find out through the men that I consult in construction are the complete opposite. So that's where that stands. I've come through hundreds of thousands of men through construction over the last 7 years. And a woman who's getting her feelings hurt in the comment section right now, I want you to go to a construction site for the next 7 years and talk to the men who are in bad relationship. Not only that, go and find a women's refugees camp and have a conversation with those women. And you tell me how your opinion still stays with science don't matter, your opinion's invalid. I deal with men like this all the time and I get to hear their stories. So I wanted to add that because there's a woman that I see get lost who always has an opinion. I would love for you to jump on so we can have this conversation because I know you disagree and you disagree really, really extremely with what I speak on. So let's have a conversation.
All right, no worries. Thank you, Taniela. Siaosi, I'm gonna pass it on to you. Anything you want to add on, Siaosi, to the conversation? Go ahead, Siaosi.
I definitely just wanted to, validate. I'm married, 2 kids. From my experience, I'm old school. I do have a lot of respect for women, good women. And there's a lot of women there that I've dated that hasn't been the best. And, but truly I don't know who said it in our podcast, but we men are simple. I'm simple. I'm a simple guy. I work hard. I try to provide, and that's as simple as I get. What I find is that a woman, what just the man needs is, the women don't really understand is that we love that if women cater to our status. Even it could be simple, like what Daniel was saying. Show up with a fresh pillow and a blanket and some dinner. It validates us as a man and it helps. I know there's a lot of things that my wife does too that, like, you know, validates to that point as well too. But I feel like we need to give credit to the lot of good women out there, but there's other women out there that are, you know, they need some more knowledge. But we also need to be careful with what knowledge we give on the podcast as well too, because it may take in different perspective. That's why we have these confrontation. But I feel like, you know, I totally agree with what Taniela was saying in that regard. So that's just my 2 pieces that I need to add.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Siaosi Malopito. Pass it on to Fatty. Go ahead, Fatty. Anything you want to add on?
I'm just wondering, on this conversation, what are you pointing at right now? Because the two guys talked about two different things, and what frustrates me here is men are very reset. Like, we get accused of being bad at communicating, but when women complain, we try to do something to solve their problems. I was talking to a friend of mine, a girl, and I was telling her the difference between men and women. When a man sees his woman cry, he gets a feeling that something is wrong and he tries to solve it. When a woman sees a man cry for her, she thinks it's romantic and is a good thing because it shows that he cares about her. So we work very differently, and every single time a woman complains about something and says, we like tall guys, we like guys with big dicks, we like guys with cars, we like guys with houses, we like guys that do this, we like guys that do that. What men do? They go to the gym, they get to work, they make some money, they do this, they do that to comply to their standards. And as soon as we say men don't ask for nothing, they don't ask for height, they don't ask for money, they don't ask for you to have a great sense of humor. They only, men, like Siaosi said, belly full, balls empty, and at least be grateful. You don't have to be scratching my ball every single day. The most motivation a man can have is coming from home after hard work, the day of hard work, and this woman getting next to him and say, thank you for everything you are doing for me. We just need that. That's the only thing we need. And when we ask, please don't be promiscuous, because you are going to have to lie to the guy that you are. The guy of your dreams is not going to accept you with 50 bodies, 20 bodies, whatever the threshold is. And we are giving them sound advice, and they are shitting on us. They are fighting with us. They are telling they don't believe the science because my friend did this. And I know a sex worker that did that. And Kim Kardashian is very successful, and she has a sex tape, so it's okay. And they are go to extreme measures just to don't listen to men, because men are fed up of just being a one-way street. They have their standards and nobody complains about anything. But as soon as I say, don't sleep around, because it will affect your results and you will have very bad results if everybody finds out. And what I think the arrogance is because they think that it will hide it. They can hide it. It's not something that's on their forehead. So I think I can go around and there's really no problem. But you know what's funny? And just to finish, I had a girl that I consider to have a serious relationship, but we have a lot of friends in common. And once she said, oh, I only slept with 6 guys. That guy. And I was like, yeah, okay. But the funny thing is, after a few days, I was talking to a friend of hers, and she told, oh, did you know that Rita was, she wasn't engaged, but at a party, she slept with this guy, and I knew the guy, and that guy wasn't on the list. And just because of that information, one lie, that wasn't even important if she said, okay, I slept with 7 guys instead of 6, just for that one little lie, she was completely completely of the metrics for a long-term relationship, and they don't understand that. And I discovered that when we are on the dating stages. Imagine that you are married with a guy for 3 years, you have 2 kids, and he find out you are a liar. That man will never trust you for the rest of his life. He will never. What else are you lying about? And they don't understand that. And we are sympathetic and try to say very nicely, very calmly, this is what men want. Of course, there are men that love fat women. Of course, there are men that love woman with one hand and the head, the foot missing. Of course, but there's a very small percentage. So if you want to appease to the majority of the men, you have to this and this and this and this and this. And you look at the chat, and this is the type of reaction we have. So how can we not be frustrated when the reaction to truth, when they tell, I want a man that tells the truth, you gather 5 guys that are telling the truth, and then they get the stones and they try to stick at you. How can you not be hurtful by that? How can you not be hurt by that? That's the only point of contention I have.
All right, no worries. Definitely. For the remainder of the podcast, just to conclude it, I just want to focus on the topic at hand. I know you guys gave your thoughts on the hoes and body count, because that was the main thing that Daniel and Savage disagreed about, and a lot of people were asking questions, so we kind of responded to that. But for the sake of the conclusion of the podcast, I just want to conclude it with the topic that we brought up at the beginning. It's how should men handle conflict with other men. I know there's some young men that we might be watching. There's one guy, he said he was 15 years old and he's listening to us. So fellas, I just want to ask you guys for the conclusion. Can you just share your experience on how men handle conflict today, in today's generation? What's your feedback? What's your criticism? What do you see? Like I told you guys before in the beginning of this podcast, I do see a generation of men, because modern society is feminizing men. They're not teaching men how to be men. They're teaching men how to be feminine. And I do see a lot of men not understanding how to be emotionally disciplined. And I think it's important for us to have this conversation. That's why I have podcasts with men, and we talk about how to be a man. But it's your perspective, your lens. I want to ask you guys what's your thoughts about today? How do men handle it? What do you see? And of course, to share your feedback, your lessons, things that you've learned to add value to the young men that's watching this right now. That's always emotionally reacting. He's undisciplined. For him to be a better man, to be able to make better decisions, quality decisions, and logical decisions, instead of always reacting all the time. I'll start with you, Savage. Savage, what's your final thoughts on the topic at hand, and what you want to share for all the young men out there today?
Is this loud? Can you guys hear me?
It's okay. I think it's because you are too close to the mic. If you come back a little bit, I think it's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, from what I took away on today's episode is that Daniel Pida is no different from me if I was his age. I would probably have done the same thing. If I was going through what he's going through, I would have some level of frustration, not knowing that, there's not advice out there, or there's not a step-by-step way to kind of deal with modern women today. And, in knowing that and hearing from his perspective, it reminded me of hey, man, that you were no different than he was when you were his age. So just hear him out. So with that, everybody has a perspective, and everyone is valid in their perspective. And all it takes is some communication to just listen. And to the young men, I don't pray any of the stuff that men are dealing with today on anybody, not even on my worst enemy. And if there was anything I could lead positive towards the young men that are dealing with these issues today with modern women, is just that don't forget who you are. Don't. You were raised by your father, you were raised by your mother, you were raised by your grandparents, your brother, your sister. Don't ever lose those core values. Because no matter what the case might be, the society may change, and it might be a matriarchal society tomorrow. We don't know. But if you never lose who you are, ultimately, there is someone out there for you, because whatever you represent and whatever you hold dear to your heart, that's attractive to someone in this world. It sounds corny, I know, but I believe that for every young man that's listening right now. Don't give up, and don't forget who you are.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Savage. All right. Yeah, I'll pass it on to Daniel Pida, man. What's your thoughts on the topic, man? How should men handle conflict with other men? Yeah, just based on what you see today and other men, how they handle conflict with other men. What do you want to leave out there for all the young men out there?
Yeah, for me, I love every single thing that everyone said in this podcast. And I think as men, we have to be more open-minded with the information that we take in from each other. I think that it is great that we come to a conclusion. I always want that in mind. And I think what we did here is completely great. I'm actually lost for words because at the end of the day, it's all about it's all about taking the meat and spitting out the bone. Anything that benefits you in your life, take it, no matter how painful it may sound, no matter how great it may sound, take it. That's just my perspective about the discussion we had. And this is great. Like, I love it all. And I think more men need to listen to other men who have the outcomes that they have or that they want and move accordingly. I think you guys will be great by doing that. You know, I'm getting better and better talking to men who do men things every day, you know, and I see the results every day. You know, I work harder every day thanks to the encouragement of men, thanks to the criticism of men, whether good or bad, and I move accordingly. And I think we should move accordingly. And don't be afraid to be a man. Don't be afraid to be a man. No matter how, no matter what the ladies say online about you, I think, like I said, I personally think it's all cap. What women say about us, I think women are more jealous of us than ever. And at the end of the day, stick to who you are. You know, you're made the way you were meant to be. So move accordingly. So that's just my take on this podcast.
No worries, Daniel. No, I appreciate it. Siaosi, man. Yeah, what's your thoughts on the topic? A lot of young men out there. I know you shared that you in the past you used to react differently, but now you're reacting more logical now. So all the men out there, young there, and of course, a lot of founders out there. We always salute. I think we had a podcast with Billy a couple of weeks ago. We did it in Tongan. He always mentioned that Tongan men. We always it's a new thing now in America. We're learning to communicate instead of communicating with our fists, communicating with violence. That's how we solve solutions. So it's a new thing we have to learn now, that we don't always have to resort to violence to seek a solution, and we should never rely on violence. But that's something that a lot of Tongan men of this generation are learning. And yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And anything you want to add on to that?
Thank you. I think I realized just by hearing everybody is that we're in two different generational knowledge in a lot of ways. I was born and raised in Tonga, and it was a little different being raised out there. We handle conflict a lot different. I remember elementary, I got beaten up by a kid in our grade, come crying home. My uncle saw me on the way home crying. He's asking, why are you crying? Well, short story, he ended up taking me to the kid's house, calling the kid outside to the front yard, and like, all right, you guys settle right there. I was crying myself, and things were a lot different. We handle conflict, and I was just raised to think that that's how we handle our emotion when it regards to conflict. Everything that if it comes to being attacked in my emotional state, I react, kind of like Savage. I react, always with a jump in a feast. fist. But what I've learned later on in life is that it's going nowhere. It doesn't solve anything, because I'll beat the guy up today. He'll be marking my head for the rest of the week. You know, I'll be walking, looking behind me, and it's not going anywhere. And I remember my dad once told me that a real man handles his emotions well. When it comes to conflict, if you can handle your emotion, you're the real man. The other person is just arguing for the sake of arguing, no matter right or wrong, but you're in the right if you can handle that. I've learned, by reading books now and just learning from like other people as well, seeing other people, how they handle conflict in regards of communicating, like how Savage and Daniel handle it today, made me realize there's more to life to handle conflict than just, using your fist or your emotion. I've also learned that your emotions and your feelings are two different things, separate things. And this is what I've learned from myself as well too. When your emotions react in a certain way, it's basically you getting triggered from things that are happening in the past, that you are automatically in your brain and in your body to react a certain way. But your feelings can change. You might feel like you're offended. You might feel like you're frustrated, but you can easily change your feelings. So you can change that emotion or that state as well too. And that's what I've learned to do as well too. I know I work in a mine. You know how many times I want to strangle everybody at work? So many times. But I handle my emotions because I feel like these are the guys that my family, as much as we annoy each other, we, dumb things underground, because I'm like 600 feet underground every rotation, every night. And there's frustration a lot more because we go through a lot of risks as far as our work. But if a real man doesn't handle their emotion, I can see how it's affecting other people, because then like he's putting everybody in that crew at risk. So handling your emotion, if I was to speak to all the youth out there, is key. You need to be able to be tough enough to handle it. I know that sometimes you believe that you're right in a lot of ways, but a real man take up responsibility no matter what, and how to solve those problems. And I feel like that's, something that we need to do a lot more. Life is unfair at most time, and sometimes people attacks you for your rights or your values. But if you hold on to what you believe for yourself and your values and control those emotions, you'll be well off in the future. So just I wanted to say I'm grateful for all of you guys for jumping in on this live, because I think it has helped me just remind me of what I can be to be able to be better. This is why we do this podcast, because not only that we just learn a few things that could improve our lives, but we also share things that could be able to impact our future generations. Some of you guys are younger, some of you guys are a lot older, but it's good that we have these conversations so we can understand where we stand as men and how we can be able to move past and be able to progress, because that's what we're all about. I feel like progressive men are always constantly, like what Daniel was saying, looking for knowledge, will always come out better in the other on the other side. So I feel this is key, and I'm grateful for you guys for the opportunity, for the time to be able to share it with you. So,
all right, no worries. So thank you, Siaosi. And your dad taught you young, here, Siaosi? Taught you how to give your dad taught you very young age, how to give the Hadouken.
Oh yeah.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Siaosi. I'll pass on Samoan King. I don't know if you're still there. Samoan King, if you want to add on.
Hey, man.
He's back in the bushes again.
Your thoughts on the how should men handle conflict with other men?
Oh, most definitely. Hey, leave it to Fatty for spying on everybody. But let's just, you know, how you're supposed to handle it, you know, communication first. And if you want to take it to the next level, then you already know what it is. But if y'all can chop it up and y'all can handle it, you know, as men, then if y'all ain't ready for war, then there's no point, you know what I'm saying, of talking. So, you know, my first thing is to chop it up, to see what it is, see what the situation is first, and then handle it from there. So we just got to see both parties, just like the law. We go to court and we hear both sides of the stories, but there's three sides of the stories. There's my side, there's your side, and then there's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, but man, hey, it's peace and love, man. I just wanted to say my 2 cents. I appreciate you, Brother Will, for inviting us and letting us have this conversation. We could chop it up later on, and man, I can't wait for the next one. Savage, hit me up, Bruce. We'll chop it up later.
No worry.
And everybody, Taniela, hey, and Daniel, and Fatty, and Siaosi, hey, my little pito.
That's thank you, right? Thank you for having me.
Hey, peace and love to the family. Y'all be safe, man. Y'all have a good night. You know what I'm saying?
All right, no worries. All right, thank you. Thank you, Simone King, man. And Fatty, yeah, go ahead, man, Fatty. Anything you want to share in thoughts?
Yeah.
How should men handle conflict with other men?
I'm glad that I already knew that, but I'm glad I could confirm that Savage already knew what was going on and didn't need us guys to be telling him what to do. And I'm proud of Daniel because he's ahead of the curve when it comes to his age, for sure. I was not as solid and sound as he is at his age, so I'm proud of both of you guys. To make things quick, there's like 2 or 3 moments in my life that I understood that I was a grown-up. The first one was when a really good friend of mine, that he was like an older brother, he lost a kid. And when he lost a kid, usually I went to him to comfort him, for him to comfort me. But on that day, he looked at me for comfort, and I really didn't know what to do. I thought about it for months because I was a little bit shell-shocked, but I understood that it was like a rite of passage, and I became a better man with that. And the second one is I was playing basketball with some friends, and the little guy was talking shit, like saying racist shit. He threw me the ball, and it was very little. I'm 6'2", I more than 100 kilos, so I could smash him right there. But I look at him, I pick up my things, I look at the guys, hey man, see you next week, and I left. And to this day, I'm very regretful that I didn't punch him on the face. But at the same thing, I look at that and I say, yeah, it wasn't worth it. 5 years later, I still think of that. I still think I really should have crushed him. I really should have told him something, but I didn't. And looking backwards, even that comes to mind later, and I saw him more times, but I didn't have the rage to go at him because I understood that it wasn't worth it. So I think Savage is on this point. He's on the point that he knows he needs to control himself. He knows he has the power to crush. He has the power to go on emotional tantrums, but you understand that he needs to work on himself like we need to work. That's nothing more humbling that you thinking about stuff that happened in the past and thinking that, yeah, I should do this different. I should have hit him, but yeah, nah, it was not worth it. So it's proof of growth, and it proved that we are trying to get better each and every day. So I appreciate you guys for proving that it was already a solved issue, and we just had to just shake hands on public and go to live another day, because conflict between men are not very easy to solve. So I'm glad that he didn't take a bad turn.
All right, no worries. Thank you, Fatty. and always appreciate it. And Taniela, man, your last final thoughts on the how should men handle conflict without a man? Yeah, ask you already. Did I miss you?
Just a little add on, because what Fatty's saying is actually quite important to bring forward. Not every conflict will be resolved this way, especially amongst men. And it is for us that are looking at this podcast and as in this environment is to know when to pick our fights, when to walk away. Not everything have to be resolved. I know for us as men, we love to fix shit. And when things like this happen, it's within our nature to pursue it until we get something that is that we are tolerable of, if anything. But conflicts will always be a constant test of your values, and don't shy away from it. It is where we truly test how robust our core values are, and who we are as people in the world. And oftentimes those values will never get resolved in the sense that we want to see the other person agree or agree to disagree. But it's very much one of the best tools to really test how robust your values are and who you are as a man. So that's all I've got to add on to that.
All right, no worries. All right, no worries.
You can book it next week, okay? Samoan King didn't ask for my number, so it's done. Next week, we are going to go at it.
No worries. Yeah, thank you, fellas, for jumping on the podcast and being on tonight. And special shout out, thank you for superstition intuition. And Daniel Pida.
Yeah. Hey, that reminds me. I'm dropping my podcast next week, Superstition Intuition. Look out for it. Tapping into the known unknowns through the wisdom of the ancestors.
Oh, no. Yeah, real quick. So, yeah, everybody in the live chat, thank you so much. Whether we agree or disagree, I appreciate your feedback on the live chat and be open to the conversation. And just before I pass on to fellas, so you can drop your panel, so I want people to support you. Everybody that's on this live chat, I see there's a lot of questions on there. You guys have a lot of questions. But the questions that you guys asking, we can't have it through a live chat. It can only be done through a conversation. So I think Taniela said it best. You have to be able to face conflict. A lot of people want solutions, but you guys don't want the inconvenience of conflict, right? In order to, I think Jordan Peters said that in order to think is the risk of offending somebody. That's how if you want to be a free thinker, if you want to think outside the box, somebody's going to be offended, and you have to be willing to deal with those, to be able to challenge your minds and to share your opinions and think that the whole world's going to agree. That's not how reality works. So if everybody that's watching this right now on the live chat, I highly advocate for you guys. Come on, right? Are we going to disagree on a lot of things? Yes. Let's challenge each other. We're not here to degrade women. We don't want to put you down. We're not here to cause conflicts. We're looking for solutions, and solutions can only be done through conversation. How can we find a solution if you're not willing to come on and face-to-face and have a conversation? That's just something I want to put out there for the women. But nevertheless, I appreciate all you guys in the live chat. Thank you so much for coming on. But I do hope one day that everybody on the live chat that disagrees with everything that we say and says negative things and says, talk shit, but which is, hey, that's your opinion. That's fine. You're entitled to that. It is a public platform. But hopefully one day I do wish that we could sit and have a real conversation live on here, whether it's online or offline. But I think we can't really have a real conversation, come to a solution to understand each other if everything's done through a live chat. I just want to say that real quick for everybody on there. But nevertheless, fellas, how can people find you? And also, if you want to respond to anybody in the live chat, I want to give you guys a chance to respond also. But yeah, how can people find you? I do want people to support you. Anything you want to add on to conclude this? And I just want people to find you on your social media platforms. And I'll start off with Savage. I want people to know about your podcast. Hey, drop your podcast, drop your links, and anything last you want to say. And then Toko, one more time, man. I just want to say thank you from all of Pito Toko to come on here and be part of this. But yeah, how can people find you, Savage? Anything else you want to drop? Go ahead.
Well, I'm primarily on TikTok. You can follow me there. Instagram. I got a YouTube channel, Savage Island. And then, of course, my podcast coming out, Superstition Intuition, to where, I'll be tapping into the likes of conspiracy, Lost and Found, The Undiscovered, just really tapping into paranormal shit from the perspective of indigenous understanding. So tapping into stories like La Llorona, Felehuhuni, the Banshee from the Nordic Celtic realms, and modernizing those stories today for the children. But yeah, man. Also, I'm on catch me on Pornhub, on OnlyFans, and all that other bullshit. But yeah, in all seriousness, man, I really love this, and I thank you guys for having me on. Will, as always, brother, it's always a pleasure to get out here and just showcase our character as men, because that's what we ultimately want to leave behind for the next generation to watch and hopefully, implement in their life. And brother Pida, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for allowing me dialogue with you.
For sure.
No
Seba
worries.
just 40,000 subscribers on TikTok. That is many, is a legend. Seba Angelic, 37,000. That's great, man.
I thought it was 100,000. I thought it was 100K. Toko.
What Fatty was referencing was my backup page. My main page, I got 160,000.
Yeah, you're a beast, Toko. You're a beast. You're a beast, man. Daniel, go ahead, man. Daniel, how can people find you? And anything you want to add on real quick? Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not on social media a lot. I mainly go to social media for the bros, but if you love to talk to me or gain any more information from me, I'll be on Instagram at they call me Daniel Pida. I think call me Daniel Pida. My bad. Call me Daniel Pida. And yeah, let's talk, fellas. Like I said, focus on yourself, read books, talk to men, get your life together. Ladies, put in the same effort you put in towards your jobs and your career and your school towards men, and you will win. I promise you that. Men will literally cut their balls for you if you want them to. But put in the same hunger that men put in for you too, and you will win. Guaranteed.
All right, no worries, Daniel. And Daniel, that is a real thing. Men are literally cutting their balls today. For women. But that's a different topic. All right. Yeah, Siaosi, same thing, Siaosi. Yeah, how can people find you, man? How can people find you? They want to reach out to you. And any last thing you want to share, Siaosi?
I just want to say thank you guys for the knowledge and the things that you guys shared today. I think I've learned a lot, me myself. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I think those are the three social media platforms I'm always on. But if anything I want to share is, there's so many ways we can say, what a real man can be, and we can disagree and agree in a lot of things. But I feel like we men, if we have a value that we stick to, a goal that we strive to, we're doing it. So I just wanted, to jump in and say hello to everybody, learn as much as I can. Even in your 30s, you're still learning. So I wouldn't say if you hit 30s and 40s, you know it all. No. Right when you think that you know it all, something happens. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, as men, this, it takes a huge hit or a huge challenge to challenge your life to actually make you rethink what reality is. But I just want to share my respect to all you guys, and thank you so much for all the efforts.
All right, no worries, Malo. Thank you, Siaosi. Always a pleasure to have you on, man. And if you want to check out some good dancing moves, man, check out Siaosi.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of ladies' hearts on your Facebook page. Thank you, Siaosi. Thank you, Siaosi. Samoan King. Yeah, man. How can people find you, Samoan King? I know you said you're a content creator.
Peace.
So I want people to find you, man. How can they find you?
Man, no one can find me, bro.
Maybe in the bushes. Where in the bushes?
No one can find me, bro. Hey, there's nowhere you can follow me unless I give you my shit right now. Just right now, you can't. But yeah, there is no way you can get a hold of me unless I get a hold of you. But like homeboy said, Daniel said, you know, I'm just trying to stay on the low key. I've been on social media for since it came out. So, you know, I'm just trying to switch it up, trying to stay low key, trying to be private, trying to learn to understand the laws and shit like that. But yeah, just hit me up. I'll be up on here with Will. You catch me up on here. You know, but hey, Taniela and everybody in the line, man, peace of love. We'll chop it up again. I'll see y'all on the station.
Yeah.
Number one podcast. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it.
Let's get it. Number one Polynesian podcast, baby. Let's get it.
Let's go.
All right. So you heard it. If you want to find someone king, you can only catch him on the Governor Cloud podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Fatty, man, how can they find you? And last thoughts.
Like, you know, I don't I don't announce my social media because you don't understand Portuguese. So I'm not going to waste your time telling you to listen podcasts and stuff like that. But my final thoughts is I really appreciate this conversation, and I think it's a matter of time for us to have more ladies here because we don't fight. We talk to them on the chat all day long. They are open to come here and talk about it. Women say every single day, we want honest men that are open to communication. Here you have it. Come on. Proof. You say that every single day. I want
you are the man, bro. You are the
I want men that are good communicators and tell us the truth. So come on, let's talk about it. And that's the thing. And for the young guys, especially on the Daniel and below, I know we as men have like a thing called sexual debt. Like we feel like we need to get some like 2, 3, 5, 10 women to feel we are worth it. It's like part of our ego. So most of us got above that phase. It's a phase where you don't care. If you are single for one year, 2 years, you don't care. You already got your numbers. You know you are a man. So you are done with that. I'm going to tell young men to use not just as fun, but to understand how relationship works, about your body hygiene, about what you can and not handle in a relationship. Use that. It was the same thing that Savage said about women, but my problem with that is I don't think women really self-reflect on their misgivings. So men, on the other way, use that to have fun, but to learn about yourself and about what you can do and what you won't do, because at 30, life would get a little bit broader, will get a little bit, it's like a playing in NBA. 3 years later, the game becomes slower. You start to see things you usually didn't see when you were young. So take your time and you'll get there. And ladies, see you Saturday. Get Lost, Coconut, all of them. I know the Tui is going to be here, and Tui is always here and he's laughing, making jokes. I really want you guys to come on and talk to Taniela about this. I really want. And I will defend you if he starts to be aggressive. So come on the show, please, and let's talk it out.
Yeah.
All right.
And to add on to that, one more thing. I just want men to know that we have all the resources to succeed. So if you want to succeed, please just don't put your full attention towards women. Like I said, read books, talk to men, like really like look in the mirror and move accordingly. I just wanted to add to that.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Daniel. And then the last one.
Malapito to everyone.
Shout out to Fatty. Learning tongue, man. Learning tongue. I need to get my Portuguese up. Taniela, last thoughts, man. And I know you probably don't want people to find you, but go ahead.
You don't find me. Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation tonight. And not only that, this is this is the clear evidence of how differently we deal with matters such as conflict. As men, we always seek out to hold our group accountable for the things that has been said or done, and we try and either squash it or move away. And I agree with that, man. I love the opinions that are coming through on the live chat, but you're not really testing them by just texting them on a screen. Come on through. You know, it's a public Zoom. We can have these discussions, and we can see where your values truly are. And if you're just sitting there typing away because you know that you're safe behind a screen and not really getting, you know, tested by other people who have difference in opinion, how truly do you know that your values are as strong as they are? And just Malo Albedo to everyone on the podcast. I sent Savage a little text on Instagram. It's not about the conversation that we're having today. I just, as a dad, I have these sort of instincts that come back and forth, and they're usually right, they're usually wrong. But yeah, mana te away toko in ofatu. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it came across that there was something. Something's not right in the sense. But to sort of end my little blabbering on or whatever, gents, thank you so much for your time and space coming in tonight so we can have these conversations. Like I said, every time I walk away from these podcasts, I add on a little bit to my cup. And to me, in a sense, I'm a better able man as I go out to my family, to the men that I surround myself with, because I have constant feedback on certain things that I discuss and the values that I have, not with just my group of mates that I get to stand in front of, but with the guys that are sitting all across the world who are ready to challenge me if they think my opinions are far off to the side. So yeah, thank you, and don't find me.
All right. And fuck science.
All right,
fuck science.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, everybody tuning in. Thank you so much for all the feedback. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the super chat donation. Thank you for the likes. I love the content. We'll do this every single Wednesday, and I guess we'll end off the show. I know I started the show with the kung fu theme song. I'm gonna end up the show with
Once Upon a Time in China. Hong Fei Hong. Well, kung fu is pretty cool.
Oh shit! Hey, Once Upon a Time, 1, 2, and 3, huh?
Yes, sir. The shadowless kick, baby. The shadowless kick. I'm gonna end up this song. This is for Savage. I had this theme song especially for Savage. I wanted to play it when Savage speaks at the end, but I forgot to play it. But this is for Savage because he was a villain last week, but now he is a. I don't know if you can hear it.
You had anime.
Yeah, Savage is Vegeta. He started as a villain.
Savage came home. He came back home.
Oh, that's so dope, bro. Fuck, hey man. Next time I'm gonna come up here with all my cosplay, bro. I'm gonna do that shit.
If you guys don't know, if you know, you know. Okay, that's the Welcoming Hero back theme song. So, as much love to you, Savage. Much love to you again. Have this conversation. Fatty, Taniela, Siaosi, always appreciate you, and also Simone King. Thank you for jumping on. But yeah, you guys have a great night. We'll see you guys next time. All right, peace, y'all.